adventures, and sports. Written, edited, and produced by the KSST Channel 18 News staff.
A traffic stop on Interstate 30 by Hopkins County Sheriff's Officer Michelle Peak led to the arrest of 2 individuals Monday evening. Near $200,000 worth of cocaine was found in the van they were driving. The cocaine was found in an overhead TV compartment in the van. The San Antonio pair were placed in Hopkins County Jail. The van was licensed in Michigan, according to Chief Deputy Ricky Morgan.
She just first stopped the vehicle for defective license plate light, and once made contact with the driver, his stories didn't really match up with the receipts and stuff that was in the vehicle, and she just had a feeling about the vehicle, so she got her canine out of the car, and he alerted on the vehicle.
What part of the vehicle did he alert on?
It was on the inside of the vehicle, the console, or the TV console, right in the headliner on the van, and it was 10 kilos of cocaine. In Texas, about $180,000, but the further north you go, the higher it goes. So it's estimated about 250 grand up there, up north.
Were these individuals from the north?
No, actually from, he shows San Antonio address, but the van, I think, was his parents or some family member, and of course, it was in their name. After the dog alerted on the vehicle, DPS Officer Stan Avery and then Sulphur Springs PD Officer Buddy Williams assisted Michelle in the search, and also Officer Duncan, Fire Department, from our department, and Steve Scott helped in the search of the vehicle.
It was all found in one
compartment, from what I understand, all in that headliner type up there around the console of the TV. It was 10 packages, and they're estimated each one of them to be a kilo, about 2.2 pounds each.
The Texas Department of Transportation has accelerated their plans for the extension of State Highway 11 from 154 to State Highway 19. Ernest Teague with TxDOT says work will soon begin on securing the right-of-way. It could take up to 3 to 4 years before the near $4 million construction begins. Teague also tells us that the contract for widening State Highway 154 south past Shook's Chapel will be let next week.
It's going to take a little while to buy right-of-way and go through the historical and archaeological environmental clearances and all that stuff, but I've done some early talking with the city and the county just over the last few days. If this happens, it's going to have to be in the form of a partnership. There's going to be some cost to each one of us. TxDOT will bear the biggest burden, that is construction. We're looking at potentially $3.7 million is our initial estimate for the construction of the road. All of the surveying and the right-of-way purchase will likely be split between that cost will be split in some form or fashion between the city and the county. Also, this will mean a realignment of Highway 11, which currently goes through Sulphur Springs. In order to make this happen and fit within a state funding category, we're going to call this Highway 11, and we're going to move it from the downtown alignment to run just south of town and over and hit Highway 19 and back up toward the Commerce Highway. So, kind of a neat opportunity. I'm really excited about it. All the initial input is positive. Of course, we still have some hurdles to work through. We have to come up with an agreement between the city and state and the county as far as who's going to do what. But at this early stage of the game, this is beginning to look like a very real thing.
Well, this extension of Highway 11 to 19 would cross our Baylor Road, would it not?
That's correct. That's correct. It would cross probably about the same distance south of town as the Walmart intersection, more or less, and we're still working on some preliminary alignments there. We've got the advantage of some internet aerial photographs that we've been able to download. They're scalable, and we can overlay some highway drawings on top of them and see how that's going to impact properties and see how we can physically fit the curvature of the highway in, or try to stay on high ground, try to stay out of Rock Creek bottom and all that kind of stuff.
Well, that would also give people access to, like, League Street overpass. If they're coming in from the south, they could go on up to the League Street overpass and put them into the west side of Sulphur Springs without any difficulty.
That's correct. It will be an advantage to people coming in from the south that, say, want to go to the school that's out there on League Street, or if they want to go all the way across and go to the Early Learning Center here on Highway 19. It'll be a real benefit.
The second thing that a question that it raises in my mind, then, if that's going to be designated as Highway 11, does this mean that the state will be giving what had been Highway 11, which would be Broadway, Gilmer, downtown, Conley, and then over to Houston? Will the state be giving the responsibilities of those roadways to the city?
Not all of that. Broadway Street, Oak, and Gilmer also serves as the north-south 154 route. That will continue to be Business 154. Now, yes, on Houston and a small section of League and Conley Street, that will revert to city maintenance. Of course, those roads are in good shape right now, and that would be part of the agreement and part of the burden to the city. Of course, instead of, the other option would have been to build this new road as a city urban highway street and to give it back to the city, but it just made more sense, since that's going to become more of a through route. It made more of a sense to call that the highway and give the city streets back to the city. And I think this also will help the city in their long-range planning as far as revamping any underground utilities which are below some of these older city streets.
What does this do then to, say, the extension of Radio Road to Highway 11 at Park Springs, which is something that has been discussed, or maybe even to another area along Highway 11? Does this really put this onto the back burner with this extension coming to the forefront?
Well, we're still continuing to look at possibilities there. The only problem we have with that route is the same problem we've always had, is it doesn't really fit into a viable funding category that TxDOT can fund. Our funds for development of new FM roads have been dry for a number of years. What little is there is highly competitive statewide. And so that's still basically sitting there. You know, one of these days we may be able to find a way to do that. At the current time, we don't see what that is. That at this point looks like something that, if it happens, probably needs to happen at the hands of the city and county combined. Not saying it can't happen, but that's what it looks like from this point.
Widening of 154?
154 scheduled to go to contract next week. Next Thursday, I believe, is when bids will be turned in. We've been getting a lot of calls from contractors looking at that. Really excited about that. That's going to push a 5-lane curb and gutter section all the way out to just past Shook's Chapel.
And how soon should we expect that?
Well, it normally takes a month for near the end of the month. The Highway Commission will approve the contract, assuming that the bids come in close to our estimate. And from there, it normally takes a contractor maybe another month to get together all of their contractual paperwork and to actually be ready to begin construction. So as soon as the weather clears out this spring, we'll be ready to go.
City Manager Mark Maxwell says a land deal between the 4 local taxing entities that will transfer ownership of the old Cannoncraft property to the city of Sulphur Springs for land to both Hopkins County and Sulphur Springs Independent School District, along with a monetary payment to Hopkins County Memorial Hospital, should be completed this week. The deal will give the school and county property west of Gerald Prim Stadium. The county will also receive property south of Interstate 30. The school will gain a parking lot, the Civic Center a site for a proposed outdoor arena, and the county a site for a Southside fire station.
I think we're about ready to close this week on it. We sent the documents out to all the parties about a week ago. There were a few changes that need to be made. We've made those changes, sent it back to the different parties for review, and I expect to close it this week.
With the closure on this, what anticipated changes are there to be made at the old Cannoncraft facility now that the city owns it?
There really aren't any anticipated changes there. I'd say any changes to be made will be most quickly seen at the boys' baseball fields and at the, I think it's 4.1 acres south of the interstate. I think the commissioners will be putting some fill material out there pretty soon, and so you'll see activity there pretty quick. But as far as Cannoncraft, it'll be business as usual.
The city has been utilizing this for storage?
The lion's share of the building is utilized for storage. We put some, for example, seized vehicles, or anything that's going to be auctioned off, bicycles that were recovered but never claimed, pipe and whatnot, but there is a portion of it that we use more actively that we run our water and sewer department out of, and they actually work out of one of those buildings.
I know for some time we've been waiting on some clearance from EPA and TNRCC regarding that facility. How close are we to having that all settled?
Who knows? It took 3.5 years to get our wastewater permit. It's actually TNRCC that we're awaiting approval from. EPA has delegated this to the TNRCC, and I think we've been through 2 years of groundwater monitoring, and they say they're getting close to comfortable, but not quite there yet. And they wanted to do 1 more year of monitoring before they give any kind of a release on it, and that'll be next December.
Will some creative uses for land and facility there be put in place after that?
Yeah, I don't know if we want to really do much more with it in this kind of stores that we have. It'll really require quite an expenditure, and I just don't expect to see anything like that anytime soon.
Community desire for a chapel at Hopkins County Memorial Hospital has led to a joint effort between the hospital and Ministerial Alliance. A room on the first floor of the hospital should soon be converted to a chapel, according to Donna Wallace, interim CEO. Wallace also tells us that children under the age of 12 are asked to refrain from visiting patients at the hospital for the next few weeks due to viral infections and respiratory infections. The hospital is imposing the restrictions due to the health need of patients. She also tells us about a new phone system for the hospital.
We do have a room on the first floor that we believe will work. We've got a meeting coming up this week. From the meeting at the board level, the Ministerial Alliance came in and said that they'd help with the furnishings and help get this put together. So we're going to meet with them this week and should have some of the things finalized. And hopefully in the next 30 to 60 days have an open house for our chapel.
How much expenditure is going to be involved in creating this chapel area?
Now, from the hospital standpoint, probably very minimal. Just some facelift type upkeep on walls and those types of things. But the Ministerial Alliance came forward and said that they'd be willing to look at furnishing that. Don't have anything definite on that. That's what our meeting is about this week. But we feel like the furnishings will come from the Ministerial Alliance.
Where is this room located?
It will be on the first floor on the main hallway. There's a meeting room for the chaplains to come. It'll just be across the hallway there.
Other things that the board decided?
One of the capital items that was voted upon last night that we're going to install an automated attendant voicemail system. Now, this doesn't mean when you call that you won't get a human to answer the phone. We still will have our communications operator staffed 24/7. But if we are busy with a 911 call or busy with another call, that it will automatically roll over and you will have options to be able to choose what extension you need. Also, the public needs to be aware that all the room numbers, all the patient room numbers have direct lines. And so there's no need to go through the operator once you learn what room that they are in. But I want people to recognize and realize that we still have somebody here to take care of their needs as far as the telephone and the communications. But when they do get this automated attendant, that it is okay, that they should just go through that process and get the extension or the department that they choose.
A lot of these automated attendants are a rather lengthy process, and with the hospital having so many different departments, is this going to be a lengthy situation?
It will be somewhat lengthy just for that reason. However, we're going to review that and make sure that it's not too lengthy that people want to hang up on that and get it so complicated that no one knows what extension they really need. But we'll be working through that once we get the system in and review that. And I've told the board last night that we'll monitor this, so it's not going to be a frustration for our public as well.
So basically the positive thing to do if someone is dealing with a department in the hospital already is to know that direct line. Correct.
Almost every department in the hospital does have a direct line. Most managers have a direct line. And it is really to their best interest, the public's best interest, just to find that direct line number and be able to just call directly with them rather than going through the switchboard. But we understand that that's not always the case, and it's going to take a little bit of time for people to get used to this.
If you know the room number that a patient's in, is there any formula for knowing what that direct number is going to be?
There is, but I don't know that because I don't call those directly either. But that'd be something that we will put out as well.
Also, you're having to change some visitation policy for patients here in the hospital.
We are, and it hopefully will be temporary, but we have already asked that there'll be no children under the age of 12 in our perinatal unit on the OB in the nursery. We needed to shut the doors to the children on Friday of last week, and that has worked out very well. Just with all the respiratory problems and the viruses going around, you know, OB patients are not sick patients, and those newborns don't need to be exposed to that. Just for the safety of our patients here, we're asking that occur. And we are full, which is what we need to be when we've got a sick community, people who are very sick. On second floor, again, we've got surgery patients who aren't really sick. They're here for surgery. We don't want them to be exposed to some of the viruses either, so we are requesting again, children under the age of 12 not to be up on the floors visiting, and any adult with respiratory problems, symptoms, to please not come and visit and expose the patients or the employees to that. So we're just asking for cooperation at this point on the second and third floor in ICU. Just be very cautious about coming in and visiting if you're not feeling well yourself.
Now, as it relates to the children, how long? Is this a temporary thing, or is this going to be a long-term?
I don't believe it'll be long-term. Right now, everybody seems to be under the weather, and I would imagine this is going to be about 30 days. And we'll just reevaluate that at that time, and again, let the public know when we can open it up a little more freely to visitors.
The bad news is people in the community are sick. The good news is the hospital's full. That should assist the hospital here.
Well, you know, my theory on that is if you're going to be sick, I mean, people are going to be sick, and if they are, they need to come to the hospital to be taken care of. We don't advertise that. We want people sick, but this is what we're here for. So come use us, help us, you know, let us help you get better.
You know, some people still are not aware of the fact that here at the hospital there are a number of services that can be offered. For instance, my dad fell and broke his hip 2 weeks ago. He was brought here to the hospital. The surgery was done here at the hospital, partial replacement and so forth. And you know, these are things now that this hospital is capable of doing.
Yes, and we're looking at all the time of more ways to be able to provide services to our community. And you know, we try to advertise that, and I think word of mouth is our best advertisement still. But we do have the orthopedic surgeons come. We're expanding in pediatrics. We now have 4 pediatricians here, and you know, our outpatient services are growing too. So people just need to call us if they have a question about what we can do here.
At the top of the Big 12 Conference 3,000-meter list, Kyle King, former Wildcat track standout and now a sophomore at Baylor University. King has run in 2 indoor meets for the Bears following a transfer from the University of North Texas. King transferred to Baylor after his North Texas coach moved to New Zealand to coach the national team there. Kyle's dad, Chuck King, assistant principal at Sulphur Springs High School, tells us about Kyle and his placement in the Big 12.
Greg Lautenschlager really had done a tremendous job with Kyle, and he really was doing well and liked North Texas. But Greg got an opportunity to go back to New Zealand. That's where his wife's from, and she was an international runner also, as he was. And anyway, he got a chance to go back and coach their distance runners, their national team. And it was just a deal he couldn't pass up. And so Kyle, when that all transpired, we talked about his situation at North Texas, and he felt like it'd probably be good for him to make a change. And so we began to look around and kind of get feelers, and North Texas was great about it. The coaches there were great. They gave him a release and gave his release where he could compete immediately and be talked to by other universities. And so it came down to a choice of Tulsa and Baylor and A&M. And Baylor really came through with a real good deal for him. And Coach Harbor there still holds the collegiate mile record. You know, since he was running way back in, I guess, the early 80s or late 70s. But anyway, Coach Harbor did a good job recruiting him and all that, and Coach Hart and him really made a good offer to him, and he really liked Baylor. He knows most of the kids on the distance team. He competed against most of them in high school. So he felt it was a good fit, and he went down there, and things have gone well for him. You know, he, first indoor meet 2 weeks ago down in Houston, he ran an 8:23, which put him in a position where he's got the #1 time for the 3,000 meters indoor for the Big 12 coming into this past weekend. And then this past weekend they ran at the Purple Tiger Relays in LSU, and he came back with a real good repeat performance. Ran a 4:11.56, I believe, in the mile, the indoor mile. And with that, his Coach Harbor feels like they're running at the Paul Tyson Invitational at Arkansas, which is the big meet they have indoor there every year. And they got international runners coming in and all that kind of stuff. Every top runner in the country will probably be there. But anyway, Coach Harbor's trying to get him into either the seeded or the seeded 3,000 or seeded 5,000 meter race. And Kyle's really on that level looked at as a 5,000 meter runner. They think that's his strength, but if he runs the 5,000 this week, it'll be first time indoor this year. But he's run real quality times. 8:23 in the 3,000 puts him about 11 seconds from qualifying for the nationals in that. And in the 4:11 he ran last week and puts him about, I believe he has to run a 4:06, 4:07, something like that to qualify. But those are two solid times going in, and he feels real good Kyle felt real good about where he's at right now training-wise, and really likes Coach Harbor, likes Coach Hart, and likes being a part of the Baylor Bears, and hopefully, you know, can contribute to some success there.
Is he feeling, is he feeling the pressure from the Big 12 lead in the 3,000?
Oh, yeah. You know, it shocked him. When it came out last week in the press release that he had the #1 time through the first 2 weekends, and because there's a lot of quality distance people. Of course, Colorado's in that, and Colorado's got the, I believe it's the Ritzenheim kid. It's either Ritzenheim or Webb. I can't remember which one of the 2 top milers in the country last year in high school. And so you've got Colorado in there that's got a quality distance program. You got Missouri. Of course, Kansas has always had a great program, and then Oklahoma State, and of course Texas and Baylor. And he's run against Texas last 2 weekends, run against A&M this past weekend, ran against LSU this weekend. So he's run against some quality milers and stuff like that, and had some success. In both those races, he came in second, was beaten by a nose in both races. But feels real good about where he's at, and felt like he's, you know, of course, he's very competitive in both. And Coach Harbor's really, really proud of him. So, well, you know, we're excited about where he's at right now. He's right on pace to where he wanted to be, and I give a lot of credit to Coach Lautenschlager, who was at North Texas, who's a tremendous runner. You know, he even qualified for the Olympics one year in the 5,000, and then of course Coach Harbor there at Baylor has done a tremendous job with him. And Kyle really loves Coach Harbor and loves both these guys. And of course, you do what they do, distance-wise and all that. There's deep relationships that are formulated because you spend a lot of time together, and there's a great commitment to all this.
Wildcat Soccer defeated Commerce 11-0 Monday night in Commerce. The Cats are now 3-0 in district play. Varsity coach, Aaron Cottrell.
We played at 7 o'clock. We even played a man down the second half so he wouldn't run up the score. Yeah, I kind of feel bad because they're just a fairly new program. Their coach is coaching the guys and the girls team. But we really took it to them first half. You know, kind of like I've been telling the team, should really take it out, win the first half. It was a fun game because we got to bring everybody got to play. A lot of our defensive guys played offense. We had, I think it was 7 different people scoring. So it was a fun game. It's hard for our guys. It's always hard, especially after, you know, a pretty big win like we had against Mount Pleasant. But it's tough, you know, playing a team that you know you can beat and you know you're more talented against. But it's just a matter of talking to the guys and improving, and, you know, looking at it, perceiving it as if it was a practice. You know, just taking it out and just work on getting better. Because the other teams, you know, when we play playoffs, other teams are playing, you know, have better district games. So we just have to, you know, play our best in each little game like that.
Well, one of the good things about that, though, is coming off the emotional high that you had to have for that first win, or the win against Mount Pleasant. You know, this gives you a couple of games in a row here that have been easy.
Right, it was good. We played Pleasant Grove and Commerce, 2 3A schools, so it was good, you know, for us to prepare or to have kind of a softer schedule after that Mount Pleasant game. So, but now we have 2 big road games. We play at Paris Saturday, at Texas High on Tuesday. So, you know, that's a real big test for us to maintain the lead in district. Actually, we're tied with Texas High, so we've got to, you know, take it to those guys.
Having the scoring kind of balance, though, makes you feel good. I mean, you've had balanced scoring almost every game you've played.
Right. Our leading scorers so far, you know, been Blake Birchfield, Michael Burnson, Chase Doyle, BJ Jetta. I mean, we have our whole offense. You know, there's no certain man that our defense, another team's defense, can key on. I mean, that's one good thing about our team. Everybody's solid. We don't have like a superstar that, you know, someone can shut down and that's going to hurt our team. I mean, if we have a balanced offense and defense, and that helps. You know, our scoring, the distribution of our scoring is, you know, all over the offense.
Saturday, the Cats are in Paris. Lady Cats soccer picked up their first win Monday night when they defeated Commerce 6-2. Friday night, the ladies are at Texas High. Varsity coach Kathy Weaver.
Big win, fun win. A little different game, kind of hard to play that kind of team. Should have been more. They had 10 on the field and I had 11 on the field. And the girls did a super good job, lacking a little bit on the passing. They were physical when they shouldn't be, got caught being physical. Had some offsides called against us that really probably shouldn't have been called against us, and I think that is kind of real hard to play when you get a call that you think is right. It kind of makes you a little bit hesitant about things. But the girls are coming together. We lack a little bit on still working as a team, passing the ball off. I think we get so excited and want to score so badly that we forget to pass to somebody that really probably could score. Melissa Holly has come so far. She is getting confidence. She's running and shooting the ball. Scored doing that. Jerica Pickle scored last night. Caroline Shipp had 2. Carly Smith had her goal. From the outside, a nice strong kick. Maria Fernandez is coming along in the goal. She may have to play on into district. We hear from Courtney this afternoon, but she's done a good job. They're just doing Danielle the Gazelle, she's wonderful.
First district win, that gives you a little confidence going into the next game.
Gives us a little boost. Don't want to get, it's kind of hard. I'm concerned about going into playing our tougher teams after playing Commerce. Needed the confidence builder, needed the workout, but it's a big head thing being 1-0 going into following those basketball girls is going to be a pretty hard job for us.
Now, when's your next district game?
Friday night. We go to Texas High that has come very far. They have 2 little girls that are strong, can shoot the ball anywhere. But we're going to surprise them with the Gazelle.
Lady Cat softball began official practice Monday. They scrimmage Athens and Mesquite Poteet next Tuesday. Saturday, the Lady Cat softball team will play a 20-plus inning game as a fundraiser. That begins at 10 a.m. Saturday. Varsity coach John McCullough tells us about Lady Cat softball.
Had a real good day. The girls are excited about being out there, ready to start doing some working out instead of lifting weights and running all the time. But had a real good day. A lot of new girls coming in. A lot of sophomores coming from last year's freshman team to working out, trying to fill in some spots, and some juniors that were on the JV last year. They're all battling right now, trying to get some of those spots that we have open.
Well, speaking of spots open, you did graduate a few seniors.
Yes, we did. Graduated Marcy Gamble and Darla Gibson and Jessica Sanders and Chrissy Munn and Ty Reagan. Candace Goggins also. And 4 of those girls had been playing since they were freshmen. So right now, shortstop, third base, and center field are really that we have to fill in from girls that graduated last year that played for 4 years.
That's not really good news because there's 3 key positions.
It really is. In softball and baseball both, you want to be strong up the middle and feel good about second base. Megan Bell's back, all district performer from last year, and but shortstop and center field and third base, that's pretty important positions right there we're having to fill in. But I feel confident we got some great ladies out there with a lot of athletic ability, and I believe we'll be able to find someone to fill those.
A lot of hard work went in this summer and fall preparing the field for you.
Oh yes, sir. I have to give a lot of credit to Dr. Henry and the school board for doing a lot of stuff for us, and Coach McMeans, and then our maintenance staff. Dale Guess and Bill Bain and Floyd Moss. They've done a great job over there. We've got there was a lot of dirt work done this summer to get the outfield level, and like I said, there wasn't a bad hop one in the outfield last year, yesterday, and it's draining real well for us. We've got a new scoreboard that's coming in, brand new bleachers, new press box. We've got some landscaping work that was done outside the field, new windscreen. We've got some signs that are coming in. It looks like a completely different ballpark. The girls are really excited about it, and the parents that have come by, they're very excited about it. So it's going to be a real exciting year. Our first scrimmage will be next Tuesday. We have Athens and Mesquite Poteet coming here. We will scrimmage Athens at 3:30, and then Athens and Mesquite Poteet will scrimmage at 5, and then we'll scrimmage Mesquite Poteet at 6:30. That's our first, actual scrimmage against another team. This Saturday, we're going to have an inter squad. It'll be our fundraiser, our 20-inning game, and we're going to start that, weather permitting, at 10 o'clock Saturday.
All right, and fundraiser, how do people contribute? Well,
the girls will go around, they have a sign-up sheet, and what the people can do, they can either pledge per inning or just make a donation, and those go just to help with all the miscellaneous stuff that we have during the year. We have a couple of tournaments where we play out of town, and I use some of that money to help offset some of the hotel rooms. The girls don't have to pay all that, and then just anything during the year that breaks or tears up that we have to get, then that'll come from the fundraiser money.
Everybody always worries about pitching. What are you looking at?
I feel real confident about our pitching. Of course, Robin Boshears is back. She's pitched for the last 3 years, and she's been all district the past 2 years, and she's back. She's a senior and really looking forward to having a successful year. And then we have 2 sophomores, Holly Watson and Melissa McSheffrey, and I believe both those girls are going to be excellent pitchers in their high school career. So I feel pretty confident about our pitching right now.
Sign-up gets underway Friday for Adult Softball League's spring season in Sulphur Springs. Registration for the For Fun League Draft will begin February 1st at the Park and Recreation office from 7:30 a.m. until 4 p.m. weekdays. The office is located under the Coleman Park Water Tower at 679 Gossett Lane. Sign-ups are restricted to Hopkins County residents. Teams will play in the newly built fields at Coleman Park beginning March 16th. A sign-up fee of $5 for all participants. Class A leagues, industrial leagues, church leagues, and co-ed leagues are also being formed. Competitive teams can have up to 18 players and will pay $280 for the season. The For Fun teams pay $225 for the season. For more information, call 439-1189, and the message hotline for the Parks and Recreation Commission is 439-4610. That's News Notebook. Thanks for watching. Have a great evening.
News, features, and sports. Written, edited, and produced by the KSST Channel 18 News staff.
Donations to the reconstruction of Hopkins County Courthouse continue. Wednesday morning on the steps of the courthouse, Mary Bonham presented a check for $2,500. The first installment of a $10,000 donation from John Balzer, a partner in the law firm of Lindbergh, Groggins, Blair, Pena, and Sampson.
Today, Mary Bonham has a presentation that she would like to make to the Commissioner's Court in Hopkins County in a donation, and we're here to accept it. So I'll turn it over to Mary.
This donation is from John Balster, and he is with the law firm of Lindbergh, Groggins, Blair, Pena, and Sampson, and they do a lot of work here in Sulphur Springs, I understand, and this is a $2,500 check, which will be part of the $10,000 they're going to give in sequence of $2,500 apiece. We certainly do appreciate them and look forward to meeting them, each one individually, if they come our way for the opening of the courthouse when we get it complete in July.
We graciously accept this check. It's nice that law firms that practice here in the courthouse, as well as collecting our back taxes, takes this step to help us ensure that the courthouse will be finished and finished on time. We're looking forward to the courthouse being completed sometime this summer, and with the monies that we're getting today, will help us to buy furniture and other furnishings for this courthouse. Mary and some of the committee and I will meet with the Commissioners Court to decide on how the money is going to be spent. Part of the grant was not covered to do a lot of the furnishings on the inside, and so this money will be used for that purpose. And these clubs and organizations that are giving money, and Mary Bonham and others such as Alliance Bank have stepped forward. They'll be recognized on our plaque on the inside.
L.F. Bridges III, CEO of Alliance Bank, announced an early spring event that will also serve as a fundraiser, a pickin' party.
This is it's called a pickin' party. It's 3 award-winning songwriters that have written for George Strait and a number of well-known singers. They're not the entertainers, but they can entertain, and it's really going to be, I've seen it 4 times, and I'm not a country music aficionado, but I really enjoy it, and people will, but it's not going to be free.
Tickets will be on sale?
Yes.
When are you going to start the tickets?
Well, when their committee gets going.
Oh, okay.
That should be right away.
That sounds like a winner. Any other comment?
No, just like to simply say we appreciate all these people's hard work in making this be a reality for the people of Hopkins County.
Sulphur Springs Hopkins County Economic Development Corporation discussed a number of incentives during their meeting Tuesday at noon, the incentives for prospective industry. Randy Thomas, EDC executive, says current regional prospects are interested in Sulphur Springs. He also tells us that Texas is now investigating the need for state incentives. Recently, Sulphur Springs has lost prospects to Oklahoma due to state incentives there.
We've been working with several companies recently that are looking at our area, and we've been negotiating, and that's the main thing we did during the meeting yesterday. Is we discussed negotiations and some offers that we're putting together, and trying to get the board's input on those, and looking toward fine-tuning those toward a final offer to a few companies.
Now, as it relates to those offers, I know that in the past we've run into some difficulty with companies that are dealing with towns and cities in Oklahoma and the offers that are made there. Are we looking at some of that as being a struggle with this series of offers?
Not really, not at this time. What we're dealing with mostly, and we've seen a lot of recently, is we're looking at some companies within the region, within this part of Texas even, that are looking at changing or expansions, mostly at expansions. And as a result of that, I don't think we're going to be bumping heads with the other states on these particular projects we're looking at now. To say that those other states aren't out there and won't stick their nose in is hard to say, but with the economy the way it's been lately, we've been getting a lot of things within Texas, but seems like a lot of the out-of-state companies are kind of keeping their plans close to their vest. I'm expecting that to change after the first of the year, so this is starting to be an exciting time. Maybe we'll have a few more coming in the door.
One of the things that is coming up, I understand Governor Perry is talking about approaching the legislature to begin statewide incentives for Texas. Do you perceive him doing that? Have you talked to him or his staff about it?
Well, we've talked with his staff a little on this. Of course, after us losing that large company just recently to Oklahoma, we sent out a resolution from the board, and also quite a bit of correspondence. We've been talking with our legislatures because this is something that's going to hit especially this part of Texas, because we're so close to Oklahoma and Arkansas, and those people are pretty tough on their incentives. And so Perry's been very receptive to that. As a matter of fact, whenever we were dealing with this larger company, he came down while he was here visiting with us. He stopped over and visited with them, so he's very receptive. We've talked with Ray Perryman, who's going to be working with Perry to put together his economic plan, and I expect to hear something back in the very near future. And I think one of the things that they're looking to back us on this is what I understand, and I do understand there's some things afoot to try and improve our incentives, and I've seen some of that. But we ought to hear something within the next couple of weeks. And it's my understanding, I think he's even going to use us as an example in some cases because of the way we've ran into this problem, not once, but 2 or 3 times in the past.
Basically, when it boils down, as a community, we offer good incentives to these companies, but we cannot compete with the Oklahoma incentive.
That's correct. Is one of the things that we're running into is that we do have a very good incentive plan here, and it's been well managed over the years. And so we do have a good, I guess you could say, war chest to work with. But unfortunately, right now, the state is just, they just do not have the funding in place and incentives in place to help us out. We've had more than one company tell us that we had an outstanding local incentive plan, but whenever it came to the state incentives, they just weren't there to compete.
How do we stand with the companies we have now, or in the community? Are things working? I know you continue to have feedback from them and so forth. Are things still standing strong with them?
I think we've got a good industrial base here, and as far as any negative feedback, I haven't heard any. Companies are feeling a little bit of a groan from the economy. But I haven't heard of any serious types of situations going on. And one thing I've noticed too is in any period of time, there's going to be one company doing a little better than the other. Sometimes whenever you think a company's going to be doing bad, they're doing their best. Some companies do best in a recession, while some companies feel it a little bit more so. So that's a roundabout way to say I think we're holding our own right now, and we haven't had any more cozy shacks on the horizon that I'm aware of, for sure.
Speaking of cozy shack, have we had any interest in that facility, or have you heard of any interest in it?
Well, we've had a little interest. I know that they've one of the things they keep on their back burner, I've talked with them recently, is they have not given up on reopening here. But one of the things they're still looking to, they're covering all their bases. They're also looking to sell or lease. And I've been surprised we haven't had any more activity than we have had. But that's the type of building that it's going to take a particular type of food processing group to use. The building is being utilized now, I understand, but it's going to take that type of business. And I think a lot of that has been a cautiousness toward the end of the year, but and because a lot of this will probably come from out of state. But that's breaking up, and I expect to get some more bites on that.
Sulphur Springs Public Library will honor Johanna Hicks Thursday from 11 a.m. until noon. Hicks is leaving the post of children's librarian to become an extension agent for Hopkins County. Librarian Catherine St. Clair praises Johanna Hicks for her service to the community.
We're going to have a sort of an open house for Johanna Hicks. We would like for people to come by, tell her goodbye, tell her that they appreciate what she's done for the library, which is tremendous. And then, of course, around 2:30 that afternoon, we won't have her anymore, and you can just bring your Kleenex to the library and put it "Attention Kitty."
Yeah, she has really done an extremely good job with the children's program and the children's section of the library.
Johanna has been extraordinary. She's gone way beyond what her job asked her to do. Many times I've asked her if she were literally crowding her calendar too much. She has the energy. She came to us with diverse talents, and that really makes for a better employee. I've been told ever since I've been working that employees are expendable. I think that Johanna has made me rethink that. I'm not sure that all employees are expendable, and I definitely have a really keen feel now for that person who comes in and goes beyond the expectations, who adds to the job, who serves the community and is an excellent steward. And I can't say enough good things about what Johanna Hicks has done for us this year.
The obvious question is, what do you do now?
Well, you just find yourself in a box and you start looking for the edges and how to get out. I will be interviewing. I have a lot of applications. I seriously think that probably somewhat of the programming will change. I don't expect someone to come in and do what Johanna did. Johanna made it her program, her position, and I hope that I can find someone who will take it that seriously, who will love it as much. It's obvious Johanna loves her job. That's why she does such a good job, and that things may be different, but not better or worse, just different.
The event is Thursday from 11 to 12, and just a chance to say goodbye.
Please come by and say goodbye to her and let her know how much you appreciate what she's done. Johanna has increased our programming fourfold at a minimum. She's put a tremendous amount of outside time into it. And I do want to say, Jimmy, there is no doubt in my mind that the county and the community will be so pleased that she is still a part of it. No matter what Johanna does, she's going to give that extra effort to it, and they are indeed fortunate.
Hopkins County Genealogical Society is nearing completion of a remodeling project that has expanded and made more functional the research library located on Main Street in Sulphur Springs. Inmate labor and donations facilitated the project, according to Barbara McCarley, a member of the society.
It's actually been going on about 8 months now, off and on. And of course, we've had tremendous number of hours of help from the inmates at the Hopkins County Sheriff's Office jail, and we really have appreciated what they've done, because we could not have done this without them. There was a delightful little gift shop in here before we acquired the building, and by its nature it needed to be cozy. The materials that we have in here call for a lot of light, a lot of open air, and so we have opened it up, painted it white, and have as much air stirring as we can to take the best care we can of these older materials that we have.
Has this been a costly venture for the society?
We were fortunate in that a benefactor, Mr. Wilbur Myers, left us a legacy that enabled us to buy this, and the amount of money that was left over after the purchase has been used to do the renovation. Now, of course, there's no way that we could have afforded the labor that it took. We were able to buy the materials, but fortunately we've had skilled help from Hopkins County Jail, from the inmates, and they have so willingly spent their time and their concerns. They've really taken a personal interest in doing the work. So yes, it's costly, but we were given the money to do this. However, the money has about been spent and there are still things that we would like to do, but we're at a place where we can operate now without going much further.
You've created some very nice display areas in this newer section.
We feel that the display areas are not only attractive, but they're going to enable us to let people see what's here and be able to reach and pull materials when they need to look at them. But one thing that we're going to be doing is that we're going to have a changing display every few weeks of materials primarily from private collections. For instance, we have a collection now we're calling the Miss Jessie Bingham collection. Miss Bingham is 94 years old, lives in Colorado, but started her life in Hopkins County and spent all of those years collecting photographs and keeping scraps of paper and letters, which she has meticulously put into scrapbooks and albums. And she wanted those to be back in Hopkins County and generously sent them back this way. And so right now we have them on display so that people can pull them out, sit down and look at them, take their time, and really get a sense of the history of the time period that she covered.
With the displays, are you also adding new materials for research?
In an archives, when you say new materials, it's not possible to put those two together. we are continually receiving items that are new to us. I received a box from Pennsylvania a few weeks back. Unexpectedly, a lady had passed away, and a grand niece found these items in the attic and boxed them up and sent them to us. And things that included family Bibles, once again, old photographs, books of autographs from parties back in the 1920s, that kind of thing. So yes, we continually are getting things given to us. We have to make a distinction, though. There are people who would like to give us artifacts that don't pertain to either genealogy or the history that we're collecting. And we have a wonderful museum down on Jackson Street where some of those things need to go. And so we don't accept farm implements here, and we really are trying to make the distinction so that everything goes to the right place. And we do, though, want people to feel comfortable to let us have things that they no longer want to keep in the family, but that record the history of the people of Hopkins County.
Continually seeing a number of people come through the research library doing work?
More and more all the time. We've always been busy, but our name is now renowned. We have people certainly from out of state in here every week. We have more and more people from Texas who are coming back this way to do research. And yes, we're having new numbers all the time. Many people don't know that this is a free library. Everything that you do in here, so far as looking at materials, is free to the public. The only charges we make are for copies that we make, and sometimes we have books that we've published that people do choose to purchase. But so far as research, it's absolutely a free library. Now, we are in the midst right now of a membership drive. We have our membership opened, and we are wanting people to come and join in support of the library, but primarily so that they will receive the quarterly that we put out, because 4 times a year we publish about a 40-page quarterly that's filled with facts about Hopkins County and the people who've been here before us, and we feel that those are really to an advantage to people. Plus, people get to exchange email addresses and telephone numbers through that quarterly and put in queries, and we find that more and more people are getting good results through using the quarterly to do their research. More people than ever are interested in genealogy. The study of family history has become an absolute passion with people, and younger people are becoming interested. I noticed that the miniseries from the 70s, Roots, is being re-shown on television. I personally think that the first airing of Roots was what stimulated the worldwide, not just nationwide, interest in genealogy. To think that Alex Haley could research the histories of people who were snatched out of their homes and who became anonymous except for the names of their owners through the years during the times of slavery, that he could research their family histories, opened up the whole world to the idea, hey, the rest of us can possibly do that too, and sure enough, it's a fact.
Does the local society have any specific projects that you're working on at this point in time?
We have some book projects that we're working on. We have just published the 1920 Census Every Name Index. What that means is we have on microfilm all the census from all the years that it's been taken in Texas, starting in 1850 up through 1920. Now, the 1930 census is about to be released, and we will be trying to acquire that. But 1920 census has been out for about 10 years, and we do have an index, but we will probably not ever be able to put it in book form as we have the others because there are just too many names. But we have an index, which means that someone can find a name and then find what roll of microfilm and what page on the microfilm to look for. Makes it quicker to research. We also have another marriage book that we're about to release. Those books are of interest to people here, primarily to be able to come here and sit down and do their research. Some people do buy them, but primarily we sell those to libraries and other research institutes.
What, in your opinion, is, if you were to list 3 of the biggest needs that the Society and the Research Library have, what would you say they are?
Now that we have more space, we're wanting to expand our acquisitions for research. The library itself is very comprehensive, but more and more materials are coming on the market, and there are some wonderful books for research that we'd like to buy. We've been fortunate enough that the Tourism Board has seen fit to give us some monies in the past few years as a grant, and through that we've been able to purchase a good bit of the old Sulphur Springs newspaper on microfilm, and we're just about to finish that collection. So that means people can come here and read what Sulphur Springs papers have said through the years, except for those years that were lost to fire. We are almost, so far as our building is concerned, we're almost in a secure position and will not be spending any more money on that. However, we're going to want to be able to have a little backlog of money to make sure, because it is these buildings are 104 years old and we may need to do some repairs. In addition to that, we have operating expenses. Utilities are expensive. We're looking for that kind of thing. But once those things, we feel that it's when we are doing a good service, most of those needs are going to be taken care of. But we probably are going to need to buy a new reader printer before long. We're constantly updating our computer systems. We are on the internet here. People can come here and do genealogical research on the internet. We don't let people just come and surf the net, but we do have genealogical sites that they can go to. We have a number of CDs, and we have one computer that's dedicated to the use of CD-ROM for genealogical purposes. We will want to expand that collection. So by way of talking about personal items that need to come in here, we really want to expand our collection in CD-ROM, a little bit more in microfilm and some other ways, and many, many more volumes of books for people to be able to pull off the shelves and sit down and copy from.
Wildcat basketball lost to Texas High 76-70 Tuesday night in Texarkana. Zach Burney led Cat scoring and game scoring with 24 points. Dustin DeVoto hit 17. It was a slow start for the Cats, according to varsity coach Steve Glover.
Just started too slow, and when you start slow, we talked about it in pregame, you start slow and have to spend all that energy trying to catch back up. We just we recovered pretty good in the second quarter, but we had three guys with 2 fouls when the second quarter started, and so we had to have some guys come in, and Craig got hit on the head and was bleeding, and he was out until it would stop bleeding. So we had to maneuver guys into new positions. Some of them had never played before, or very little, and I thought it was a good team effort, good effort to cover up the holes and try to win it as a team. And then we came out in the third quarter, made some adjustments in the third quarter, and we just gave them a run. They were beating us down the floor. We knew that in the first half. We talked about that at halftime, and we were down 15, 16 points in the third quarter, and then we got down, I think at one time with 7 minutes to go, 19, and then we just decided there was urgency there, and we started to play. And I think we got within 3 with about a minute or so to go in the ball game. And I told guys after the game, I said, if we could figure out how to harness that at the start, we outplayed them for 3 quarters. And so it just didn't. We didn't do it early, and it took a lot of energy and a lot of effort to try to get caught back up, and we just didn't have enough time or energy to finish it off. But I still look at it, after hearing the results of last night. Greenville lost at home against Paris, so they're 1-5 now. We're still up on them. We are at 4th place now because Mount Pleasant beat North Lamar by 6 or 7 at Mount Pleasant. But the thing is, out of our 4 losses that we've had, we've lost to 3 of the losses are to the district leaders in 1st and 2nd place, so those aren't hurting us. The Greenville game at Greenville hurt us, but we still got an opportunity. If we can take care of Mount Pleasant, we can take care of Greenville and take care of North Lamar, because those people still have to play Texas High, and we're done with them. And really Mount Pleasant's schedule last 3 ball games, I think, are Greenville, Paris, and Texas High, and so if we can take care of business the next two ball games, I think we're in pretty good shape on where we want to be, and our goal is just make the playoffs, you know, and that's what we want to do.
You know, when you look at the game as the game as a whole, the guys played well. The only problem with the first quarter was that what they put up didn't go in, basically.
Yeah. Well, yeah, we came at the end of the first quarter and said, guys, keep playing. And said the shots just aren't falling during the interim period between first and second. We had 23 turnovers again last night, and you just can't beat good teams with turnovers. And a lot of the turnovers are just unforced turnovers or just silly turnovers. And we focused, we've concentrated, tried to really do it. You know, the thing is, we don't throw the ball away a whole lot in practice. But we get in the game, we start trying to do things that we haven't practiced, and trying, you know, sometimes trying too hard. And when those things happen, you get out of what you're supposed to do, and those things kind of happen. But you know, we had some guys that didn't have really good games last night. They just very quiet games, and still we had an opportunity. And the thing I told the guys at the start of the game, let's give ourselves an opportunity to win the ball game. Well, we didn't do it in the first quarter, but we gutted it up, and we got to the point where in the fourth quarter we actually had an opportunity, and we had opportunities to come down there with time still on the clock to have a chance to win a ball game. That's what we wanted. And but I'm real proud of the guys on the fight, and we're still okay. You know, we've got to play Mount Pleasant at Mount Pleasant. We can even up the series there, and we can have a 2-game match against them. We need to beat North Lamar Friday. That's a big one. We got to take care of business at home on Friday, and because we can't lose to teams that are slightly ahead or behind us. And the teams that are behind us, we must beat. And then the Mount Pleasant game on Tuesday would become critical, but we have to take care of Friday for it to become important to us. But I'm proud of our guys and what they did and not giving up. And you know, we lost to them by 15 here. We lost to them by 6 at their place. I think that's a big accomplishment. We need to take. It's hard to take anything positive out of a loss, you know. But at the same time, I think we played well as a team, and I think we can take that to Friday with us.
It was a big win for the Lady Cats Tuesday night as they defeated Texas High at Wildcat Gym. The ladies now prepare for the North Lamar Lady Panthers in a game that they desperately want to win.
Good win last night. The girls played hard from the tip. I think first quarter it was 32-7. We were just on fire, lit it up.
Final score?
The final score was 86-49.
Well, somebody had to put some points in the bucket.
Yeah, leading the scores were Ruth Jemerson had 21, Brandy Clayton had 20, I think Stacy Moore had 17, 15, I think she had 15, Crouch had 10. Everybody scored except one kid, and so they all contributed last night.
This a warm-up for North Lamar Friday night?
Yeah, it is. I mean, you know, I've been stressing to them and to you guys, it's a big game. You know, we're already district champs, but that's not good enough for us. We want more than that. We want to go undefeated. We want to upset North Lamar. You know, they're undefeated in that gym since some of these kids were in 5th grade, 6th grade during district play. So it'd be nice to get a big crowd there from the student body to the community because it's going to be a big game, and I know the girls would enjoy seeing everybody there.
KSST will broadcast Friday night's Lady Cat game from North Lamar. We'll also videotape that game for replay on Channel 18. The boys' loss to Texas High can be seen at 6 p.m. Saturday evening on Channel 18. It will be followed by the Lady Cat, Lady Panther game. Baseball season getting underway. Varsity coach Hank Laywell tells us about the first workouts of the boys of summer.
Been out there the last 2 days. Things look pretty positive. We hit the ball pretty well right now. Our kids' work habits are really good, and they're really excited about the upcoming season.
Well, I know one of the biggest concerns for baseball always is pitching, and are we looking better than the Rangers this year?
I don't know. We don't have that money. I wish Tom Hicks could bring a couple pitchers in for us. We'd be a lot better off. But now, you know, people keep voicing their concerns over the pitching, but I mean, Sean Arthur's going to be okay, and Brian Phillips is going to be okay, and Jace Wood's going to be okay. I mean, we don't have Mark Morton starting out for us, but very few people did. And in the long run, our pitching staff's going to be strong, and we'll be a good baseball team by the time we get to district because our non-district schedule is loaded, and our kids are going to get a lot of experience. I mean, one-loss record, we tell those kids, is not that important. It's late March and April and May that counts around here, not February and early March.
First game?
first game get to Henderson again at 10 o'clock. I mean, we play them, we scrimmage them, play them in both tournaments. We'll get a good dose of them early. I mean, then we play Pine Tree in that tournament and Longview. Just about everybody on our schedule's playoff caliber people, so we'll be all right.
Filling some holes?
Oh, there's a few holes to fill. You know, we lost a great group of seniors last year. You know, when you lose Blake Johnson, you lose Jonathan Martinez and Adam Gatewood and Capabianca and Morton. I mean, there's holes to fill, but that's what's good. Those kids have been around the success and they want to be part of it, and they're ready to fill in and step it up for us.
One of the fun things has been that the freshmen coming up have had a pretty successful season last year, and you know, even your junior varsity was fairly successful this past year.
Our freshmen and JV have been good, and you know, in baseball you just got to plug in. You don't work. You know, you got to plug in Jeff Carper at shortstop. You know, Jace Wood and Josh Anderson over at third, and you know, you got to find an outfielder, and that could be Kyle McCarty or Jacob Sellers and Cody Cox. You know, you just there's people there. It's going to take time, and we just got to get a feel for things and see who's going to be there. And we got a pleasant surprise. Sean Acatola thinks he's thinking about coming out for baseball, and he looked pretty good yesterday swinging the bat.
You've been working on Eagle Stadium.
Oh yes, I just can't thank everybody enough. The school board and the administration, the support we're getting in baseball, they really put the money into improving our stadium over there, and the maintenance people have been just working around the clock trying to get that thing ready for us.
How close is it to completion?
Well, it's not too far off. By the time they finish the bleachers here in the next couple of days, and they're working on the dugouts, and it's going to be nice. And there's still a few things. They're going to paint the wall and carpet the cage for us, and it's just an ongoing deal.
It's kind of brightening things up over there, though.
Oh yes, it's looking better. I mean the kids are excited, and I'm excited, and we're just ready to get this thing going. We have the baseball camp still Saturday, and if you want to register, come out Saturday morning early, and we'll still get you in. If you want to just call the house at 885-6321 and just leave your name, we'll just make sure we can accommodate you. We're trying to get as many people as we can. Got around 30 now, so things are looking up in that respect.
Sign-up gets underway Friday for adult softball leagues in Sulphur Springs. Registration for the Fun League Draft will start Friday at the Park and Recreation office. The office is open from 7:30 a.m. until 4 p.m. weekdays. The office is located under the water tower at Coleman Park. Sign-up restricted to Hopkins County residents. Teams will play on the newly built fields at Coleman Park beginning March 16th. A sign-up fee of $5 for all participants. Class A leagues, industrial leagues, church leagues, and co-ed leagues are also being formed. Competitive teams will have up to 18 players and will pay $280 for the season. The fun teams pay $225 for the season. For more information, call the Parks and Recreation office 439-1189. Thanks for watching News Notebook. Have a great evening.
Informative hard news, features, and sports. Written, edited, and produced by the KST Channel 18 News staff.
Sulphur Springs Kiwanis Club presented awards during their Wednesday meeting. Charlotte Henderson received a plaque honoring her late husband Rod for his contributions to projects focused on children's health issues. The club also presented a clock to Mrs. Henderson in memory of her husband's contributions to the local club. James Law, past district lieutenant governor, made the presentations.
The Sulphur Springs Kiwanis Club and Kiwanis International lost a good friend in Rod Henderson, and I'm here this morning to present Charlotte Henderson with the Heritage Society Memorial and with Rod Henderson's name on this, and also a small presentation from the club itself in appreciation for all Rod's hard work in the past, and we'll miss him dearly, and wanted Charlotte to know that. So, Charlotte,
thank you.
I present this to you, and also this memento. Think of the club, and once again, we'll invite you any Wednesday afternoon for lunch to come by and have lunch with us. Thank you very much.
Okay. Thank you, James.
James, let me ask you one quick question quickly here. Tell us what the Heritage Award is.
The Heritage Foundation is the Kiwanis charitable organization on the international level, and a lot of this money will go into good works, scholarships and so forth for key club members, and also for our national project, international project, which is iodine deficiency disorder. Some of the funds will go there also.
Charlotte, Rod always had an interest in people, didn't he?
Yes, he did, and I'm seeing that. I don't think I realized how much of an impact he did have in so many areas of his life.
Thomas Payne was honored by Kiwanis with membership in the George F. Hickson Fellowship. The local club donated $1,000 in Payne's name to the Kiwanis International Foundation. The Worldwide Service Project was adopted by Kiwanis with a goal of virtually eliminating iodine deficiency disorders, the world's leading cause of preventable mental retardation in children. Payne is a charter member of the local club, founded in 1951.
Each year, the Sulphur Springs Kiwanis Club makes a presentation to the International Foundation in someone's honor. With the funds, the $1,000 George F. Hickson Award goes to iodine deficiency disorder, which the Kiwanis International has pledged to wipe out within the next 10 years. We work with UNICEF, and we go into underprivileged countries and get iodine in their salt. We want iodized salt on every table, and we'll wipe out this disorder within the next 10 years. And this year, we wanted to recognize Thomas Payne, the only charter member still coming regularly to the class. And Thomas was at 1954 when the...
1951.
1951,
and
when the...
About September 51, the first meeting.
Sulphur Springs Kiwanis Club was formed in 1951. And charter member Thomas Payne, we're proud to give you this George F. Hickson Award, and want to honor you and thank you for all your hard work for Kiwanis and the community of Sulphur Springs. Thank you.
Well, thank you, James. It is an honor to receive this. And like I've told some of my friends, when I found out you had to donate $1,000 to get it, I'm not worth $1,000, but I'll take it and I appreciate it very much.
As a charter member of the club, you've seen a lot of change take place in Kiwanis Club over the years, haven't you?
Oh, I sure have. And very few members. I know of one person that's still alive. That was a charter member. Of course, he dropped out years ago. And it seems strange when you elect a president for our club, in 2 or 3 years they'll drop out. I hope you don't do that, James.
As it relates to the work that the Kiwanis has done, it's been a club that's been very involved in the community all of these years.
Yes, we sure have. You know, our first project, we bought a heifer calf and gave it to a kid, and he's supposed to raise it. And when the cow has a heifer calf, he's supposed to give it back to the club, and we pass it to someone else. That was our first project.
Well, and that project had a great longevity to it.
Well, it didn't last too long. They seem to have forgot where they got that heifer calf.
You are involved in Kiwanis more than just the local club.
Well, yes, I've served as I'm a past lieutenant governor of the Texas-Oklahoma district of Kiwanis International, and that serves Paris, Honey Grove, and down through Emory and Commerce. Anyway, there's 6 clubs in the District 32 that I serve in. Kiwanis focuses on children. Children is our priority one, and actually the age group we're looking for is from prenatal to 5 years old, those least able to help themselves. And so that's where the bulk of our funds go and our fundraising in the community. And all the funds raised in the community stay in this community.
Sulphur Springs High School newspaper, The Cat's Tail, is collecting past issues of the publication. This is the 50th anniversary of the newspaper. This week, Marge Morrison, editor of the publication in 1952, donated issues from that year. The current Cat's Tail staff will archive past issues in the school library. Mary Nell Bryant, faculty advisor for the publication, is only the 4th advisor in the 50-year history.
1920, that's right, because she moved here in 1920.
So she probably was.
And I think that's right. But why they started the renumbering, I feel sure it had something to do with the war.
Some reason they started
interrupting the publication.
Yeah.
But I don't have anything from 48 to 52, and that's what I would like to be able to tie that time period together to know if it was still called the High Life.
Well, now, I had a sister that graduated in 49.
The Cat's Tail staff has taken a project to establish an archives in the library for old issues of the Cat's Tail, because this is our 50th anniversary. And Marge Morrison came and has donated all the issues from 1952. And so we're starting to collect those. And when I came here in 1970, we had a filing cabinet drawer full of, we've sort of organized those, and we had those bound into volumes that we're going to protect. But a lot of them are incomplete from 1952 up through 1970. And if anyone out there has some old Cat's Tails that they would like to donate, we want to put those in the archives and try to protect those and preserve them. And since we started this project, we've discovered that a lot of people have copies of the newspaper before the Cat's Tail, which was called the High Life. And so some people have started donating those. The earliest ones we have right now are 1932.
With this archive, what will be the purpose for it?
We just want to establish a permanent place where we can keep the copies of the Cat's Tail. Part of the history of the school is tied up in that history of the newspaper, and my students have had a good time going back through those old issues to see, you know, what was going on in school at that time and what the enrollment was, some of the activities the students were involved in. So it's kind of given them a sense of history as well as preservation just of the newspapers.
Going back that far, some of them may find their own family in that.
That's true, and so these students, of course, are going to have grandparents and great-grandparents who may have served on the newspaper staff, and so they have a connection there that they can make, and they're really interested in it.
You mean different articles or different?
Yeah, it's different the way you do it, because we have our editorials, we have our news, we have our sports, and y'all had like little cute things.
Yeah, we had
like
sort of like
personality.
a cat's fur where we would highlight two people every issue to do personality.
And I like that kind of stuff.
And then we even have birthdays. How big you do guys?
Nuh-uh.
Well, you have so many students now, you probably.
And then the excuses thing.
As it relates to people who want to donate, but they want to keep the original copy that.
Yes, we have some people who have made photocopies, or we can make the copies for them. If they want to just bring them to the school, we can take care of that for them. And because I know they like to keep, especially if they just have one or two issues, they might like to have somebody in their family keep those for them. But we would like to have the photocopies at least, so we have a record of the paper.
You said you came here in 1970. That would mean that you followed Blanche Lewis.
1 year. In the 50 years that we've had the Cat's Tail, there have been 4 advisors. Ms. Jessie Featherstone was here about 10 years, and Ms. Blanche Lewis about 10. And then in between there, one of the coaches that they hired had a degree in journalism, and he was here 1 year before I came in 70. I tried to talk Ms. Lewis into staying and not retiring until I could take her place, but she wanted out of here 1 year too early.
That was Blanche. With that kind of heritage, though, it certainly gives some credibility to the journalism department here.
Oh yes, it does. And of course you have ups and downs. We have years when we have a lot of students on the staff. I've had as many as 22 to 25 students. This year we only have 7. But it's a real worthwhile effort, you know, and I hope it inspires some more students that might be interested in writing to come on and be on the staff. It's a lot of fun. It is a lot of work, but you know that's true in every situation, everything you choose to do.
Since you've added broadcast journalism, do you find that most of the kids want to move to the TV side more than they do the writing?
Yeah, we do have a lot of students who are more interested in that. In fact, we have 2 broadcast classes where we just have 1 newspaper class, and we still have the 1 yearbook class, but there is more interest in the video, I think, now.
In looking at what has taken place with some of those students who've gone through the program, do you find that it's giving them a good foundation, not just for journalism, but for some other areas of their life?
Right. A lot of students who are interested in being lawyers, for example, or in the business world, their journalism background helps them a lot with that particular thing. And we have a lot of students who are out there in the professional media who have come through Sulphur Springs High School, so that's kind of a gratifying thing too.
It helped me to meet deadlines and work under pressure because you knew you had to have everything in by Tuesday afternoon, and you had to get it to the News Telegram by Wednesday or no later than Thursday. So you knew you had to have everything in, get your assistant editors and everything to have their articles in. So it did. I benefited that way. And in other ways, I went in finance first, and then I went into marketing. So, you know, it helped in that respect. And I can really say it did help to meet deadlines. I knew what they were anyway.
Thursday morning at the Sulphur Springs Public Library, Johanna Hicks was honored for her service to the library as children's librarian.
It was really a surprise when I walked in this morning and saw the display and the balloons and the cards from the kids in the community. It was really a pleasant surprise.
Well, and you had some other surprises too.
Yes, I did. My parents drove about 2.5 hours to get here from Cleburne this morning on this rainy, wet morning, and totally surprised me. So I'm really glad to have them here this morning.
And you had support from some of your volunteers?
Yes, I have a couple of my Storytime volunteers here, and we have our regular library volunteers that came this morning, and a lot of support, and our judge is here this morning, so it's been a good morning.
And city manager dropped by, I think, and presented you with a plaque.
Yes, he did. This was very unexpected, a very nice honor.
In looking at some of the cards from the children around the area here, it looks like they're not real fond of the fact that you're leaving.
Well, one of my favorites says, "Miss Hicks, we love you. Please don't leave. Don't get a new job. Don't leave. Don't leave. Don't do it. Don't leave." And those are the exact words on the card.
Yes, they are. I saw that. Well, I can know that your dad thought you would attain such greatness, but I'll talk to your mom. we fathers who have daughters always expect that, don't we?
Yes, Johanna has always enjoyed every job she's ever had, and I think it's because she put so much of herself into it. And people are very kind to her, and she's a people person. She enjoys working with people, and we're very proud of her.
Sure. As one of her volunteers, how's it been to work with her?
Oh, it's just wonderful. Johanna's, I just stand back and watch her in awe because the children love her dearly. But we're from the Extension office, so we're sad, but we're glad.
There's a pleasant minus here, huh?
I too, though, I want to share what everybody else did. I picked up all the letters from the children, and I had teachers hanging on to me and saying, "Tell her not to." And of course, I talked to her a long time ago and said, "I'm sure this is going to come up for you. Will you just give me a little bit of time and a little bit of notice?" And she said, "Oh, no, no." And then finally, when she came to me, she said, "Kitty," and I just knew, and I said, "You know, but we all have to do things that are for our community and for ourselves." And there's just no doubt in my mind that Johanna is one of the people in Sulphur Springs that long after I'm dead and gone, people are going to be so glad that she was a part of this community. These letters from these children, by the way, I sat last night as I was taping them up, and they're real tear-jerkers, and they're very pointed. I liked certain songs. I liked a certain story. I love the way you did this or that. Johanna has really made a big difference in the lives of the children and the adults in this community.
Your Honor, the city's loss is a county gain.
Well, it's really not the city's loss. It is the county's gain, but the city is also going to benefit that she's going to live here. Joanna and I, we both attend the same church, so she's going to be in the community. And on behalf of the Commissioners Court, we'd like to welcome you to the County Extension Service. She's not a newcomer there. She's had a lot of experience in the past. She's done a wonderful job for us. She took some time off for her family, and now she's back for the county, and we're glad and delighted to have her working with us.
Woodman of the World Camp 22 presented $500 to Austin Elementary School to be used in any way needed. This is the 11th year the organization has presented a cash donation to a school where Dr. Juan Harrison is principal.
Well, it's Woodman of the World Camp 22 here in Sulphur Springs, and we're just happy to present a check to Mr. Harrison here for the great work that he's doing in our schools, and we appreciate it so much. So you use it where it would be best advantage for your school.
Well, we appreciate that. We again, we have a thing we'd like to present to Sam and Sue and to Ray and Mervyn and Marie. They couldn't be here. I think they got held up by some muddy roads out there, so we'll have to thank them later. This is in appreciation to Woodman of the World, Camp 22, for 11 years of faithful support, January 31st, 2002. And we had Houston and Austin schools because they helped us 8 years at Houston, and this is the 3rd year at Austin school. So I think each year they put one of these up on their wall there, and we're just glad they got a good place to put this. So Ray and Sam and Sue want to present this to y'all in appreciation for the good things you've done for my school, our school system for 11 years.
You've used this money in a variety of ways each time.
Well, what we do, they're so gracious to us, and the thing that I liked what Ray said to us was, he said they always enjoyed helping our school because they could drive by and see whether it be awnings or playground equipment or TVs in the school or whatever. They've always made sure that what they did really had good results.
Wildcat Tennis is gearing up for spring competition. Mike Armstrong is varsity cat tennis coach.
We've had a few good days of workout, and the schedule worked out a little different this year. We don't have as many tournaments available early February, so we're a little late getting started with tournaments. Kids get a little more free time maybe. The JV does have a match, a tournament tomorrow in Longview. We'll take 6 boys and 6 girls, a few off of the varsity because we're short on boys, but mostly it's some new kids that haven't played a whole lot. And then 2 weeks from tomorrow, our varsity gets their first match when we go play a tournament in Greenville, and that'll be a one-day tournament, probably 6 or 8 teams.
Well, with the beginning of the season, what are the prospects for this year?
They look pretty good. We're going to put Jonathan Bennett with Stephen Simpson in doubles. They did a real good job at the last half of the fall. Now, Jonathan has gone to regionals the last 2 years as runner-up in singles, but he decided he wanted to try some doubles, and they'll have a pretty good chance of getting out, because I would imagine that the top boy from Texas High will be playing singles, and we should be in pretty good shape there. Jeanette Mitchell's playing soccer right now, but when she comes out, she'll be a strong #1 player. She wants to play singles this year, and we'll have a little tougher time with her getting out this year because there's a couple of good girls. A little girl from Greenville, Rachel Vincent, is playing singles this year, where she played doubles last year. A little girl from Mount Pleasant will be pretty good. She's also into cheerleading and hadn't played a whole lot during this time, but if she gets her game back together, she'll be a lot of competition for Jeanette.
With a no loss in district record on the line, Friday night the Lady Cats are at North Lamar to take on the Lady Panthers. The Lady Cats are 8-0 in district. North Lamar has not lost a district game at home since 1997. The local ladies seek to change that record. KSST will broadcast Friday night's game and videotape the game for replay on Channel 18 Saturday evening. Hear the game on KSST beginning at approximately 7 p.m. Friday night. The junior varsity plays at 5:30. There will be no freshman game. Friday night at Wildcat Gym, the Wildcat basketball team, 2-4 in district, face North Lamar Panthers. The Wildcats need a win to stay in the for a playoff spot. Tuesday's Cat loss to Texas High can be seen on Channel 18 Saturday night at 6 p.m. In other sports, Wildcat soccer 3-0 in district are in Paris Saturday. JV play at 1, the varsity at 3. Lady Cat soccer 1-0 in district travel to Texas High Friday night. The junior varsity plays at 5:30, the varsity at 7. And don't forget about the Wildcat baseball camp at Eagle Stadium Saturday from 9:30 until 11:30. You can sign up by contacting varsity coach Hank Laywell at Sulphur Springs High School. Thanks for watching News Notebook. Have a great evening.
Unique blend of informative hard news, features, and sports. Written, edited, and produced by the KSST Channel 18 News staff.
Food Checkout Day is February 8th. The day, sponsored locally by the Hopkins-Rains County Farm Bureau, will take place at Brookshire's Food Store in Sulphur Springs. Every 15 minutes on February 8th, a drawing will award some lucky shopper $25 off their grocery bill that day. Andy Wright is president of the Hopkins-Rains County Farm Bureau. Sulphur Springs Parks and Recreation Commission approved a fishing pier for the upper lake and a swimming beach area for the lower lake at Coleman Park. The pier will be designed with younger children in mind. The beach swimming area will include a diving pier located in the lake.
We met today. We're getting farther along on the north end of the park at Coleman, and some decisions had to be made about the location on some of the amenities out there, specifically the fishing pier and swimming area. And so we met today to discuss it a little in council chambers and then go out to the site and wade through the mud and see if we could see what it looked like and see where would be the best place to put things. what we're going to recommend, and I think the park planner and staff are making the same recommendations, that we build a pavilion just off of Reservoir Street in what is considered the upper lake. There are two lakes, the upper lake, and then, which is a small lake, about 5 acres of water, and then the lower lake is the much larger area. The pavilion will have, extending out from it, a fishing pier that goes into the upper lake. It'll actually face to the north, and that fishing pier will be designed primarily for children's use. Not that we want little children out running on the pier by themselves, but parents can bring their children and go out on that pier and fish. It's not going to be designed where your more advanced fishermen would necessarily want to use it, though they're welcome to. The rails will be shorter on it so that little kids can get their fishing poles over it, and it's in the smaller lake so that it'll be a little shallower water. And we have dealt with Texas Parks and Wildlife on all of this project, and they are very interested in that upper lake, in putting a little more coordinated stocking effort into it, stocking more fish, perhaps doing some special things like we do at Peavine Pinyon with the trout in the wintertime, things that are more geared towards smaller children so that parents or grandparents can take their kids out there and catch some fish. They may not be the biggest fish, but they'll have plenty to catch. And in that contained area, the fishing will be a little better for them. The swimming area is actually going to be in the big part of the lake. It will be west of the fishing pier. When you pull down into the reservoir, off of Reservoir Street into this area that's planned as a day use area, it will be on the lower lake, on the big lake. There is an area there that where the bank faces to the west. It's the eastern shoreline where the lake slopes very gently out into the lake for a good ways, and we're going to put a beach. The plans are to put a beach there, to actually bring in beach sand, and to put a swimming beach, and to designate an area, hopefully to have a dock, a swimming platform rather, out in the water where people can dive off of it and be a nice area to go and swim in. It'll be away from the kids' fishing area. That was real important to us. It'll actually be in the lower lake as opposed to the upper lake, though the proximity is pretty close. They're divided by a dam, and there'll be lots of other area to fish in the lower lake, and so it won't interfere with that either. There are going to be some extra costs, and right now, this morning, Johnny couldn't tell us what they were going to be. The fishing pier is part of the upper area that we've been looking at all along, so that's not something that we didn't know about or didn't anticipate. The swimming area is something we had talked about, but it never really formally got on the drawing board, though we're hopeful that it will be an inexpensive addition, and if we, at the very least, have a plan for where it should go, if all we do is go in and mount piers out in the lake to build the platform on, and then build the platform at a later time, should we not have the funds to complete that part of it. We're into that area of the planning as we get closer and closer to the end of the project, where we have to watch our dollars more, and we're trying to get all of the amenities into the park that we can possibly get, and these are some things that we would like to see, and like the fishing was planned, the swimming not planned, but we would still like to see us do that if we can find the money to do it.
The documents were signed and filed Friday morning. The land swap between the City of Sulphur Springs, Hopkins County, Sulphur Springs Independent School District, and Hopkins County Memorial Hospital is now official. The City of Sulphur Springs now holds sole ownership to the old Cannon Craft facility. Each of the 4 taxing entities held back taxes against the property. In exchange for the owed tax, the county now owns land once occupied by baseball fields near the Walter Ham Memorial Complex, where a proposed outdoor arena will be built. The county also owns just over 4 acres of land south of Interstate 30 where a proposed fire station will be built. Also in the deal, the county will receive a 5-year lease on office space at the Houston Learning Center. The school will receive a portion of the land next to the Helm Memorial Complex, plus a new parking lot built by the county, extending from Gerald Prim Stadium across Park Street. Hopkins County Memorial Hospital received just over $7,000 in the deal. Present for the signing, City Attorney Jim McElroy.
When we scheduled the closing, Dr. Bothwell, who is the chairman of the board of the hospital board, he apparently had something scheduled this morning at the hospital, couldn't be here, so we circulated documents to him yesterday and he signed the documents he needed to sign yesterday.
Hopkins County Judge Cletus Millsap.
We plan to do it starting immediately. Some of the commissioners have expressed interest in some of the paraphernalia out there on the ball fields and discarding it. Doing some landscape work, and then we'll go from there.
The property on the south side of the interstate, what will you be doing with that?
Well, we're going to go out and look at it, and some of the commissioners expressed some interest about hauling some dirt in out there and building it up so that we could maybe look at a future fire station out there.
What's the next step for that south side? You've mentioned a grant application before. Have you already applied, or are you going to begin?
Well, in April, I plan to go to Washington, D.C. with the COG and meet with some members of the Transportation Department in Washington, D.C. to see if we might pursue an enhancement grant. This is something we want to try to explore, is to see if we can get money available that we could look at a fire station and other paraphernalia out there that would help us.
Sulphur Springs Independent School District Board Chairperson Tom Sellers.
I mean, we hope real soon. We hope we can get a parking area done before the time for the football season next year or this fall, so that we'll have it available for football and soccer and baseball next spring. So we're excited about that opportunity.
Well, the first thing we're going to do is look at doing the dirt work out there and leveling the property up, and then putting a parking lot in that would be suitable to the ordinance that the city requires. We're also looking at doing some work and have some parts of that done by September of this year. This will be part of the agreement that we have with the school system for the continuation of the lease on Houston School and the parts that we have that we're using at that facility. So the parking lot is a part of our obligation to live up to that agreement with the school as far as the lease on the Houston School, and we plan to get started on that as soon as possible.
Is this a win-win for everybody?
It's a terrific win.
And City Manager Mark Maxwell.
It's the best possible solution. I credit Dr. Henry for coming up with it.
Hopkins County Clerk Debbie Shirley says local farmers and ranchers have until February 28th to renew their brand. Brand renewal takes place every 10 years, according to Shirley.
This is the last month. If you want to re-register a brand that you already have registered, that you registered at the first part of 91, or if you came in any time in between that time. February 28th is the last day to re-register. March 1st, they will become what's called an open brand. Anybody, you can still come register it, but someone else could have the opportunity to register your brand, and we could let them. They would have the right to do that. And I just wanted to remind everybody to get on into the county clerk's office if you need to do that.
And your hours?
Are 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, and we do stay open during the lunch hour. So make it easy for anybody to come in on your lunch hour. And I don't think there's any more holidays for us in the month of February, so it should be Monday through Friday.
Fees for registering?
They're $11 per each location. If you have more than the same brand, but like it's right hip, left hip, you will be paying $11 for each brand.
Early voting gets underway February 25th and continues through March 8th. Early voting in Hopkins County will take place in the building next to the county clerk's office at the temporary courthouse located at the Houston Learning Center in Sulphur Springs. Hopkins County Clerk Debbie Shirley.
It's going to begin February the 25th, and it will be at our temporary courthouse Right beside the county clerk's office, there is a building right beside my office, and we're going to convert it into early voting. It's already prepared, handicap accessible. There is parking available. It will begin my normal business hours, 8 to 5, just as always, like it was in the courthouse. It will continue through March the 8th, and that's the Friday before the actual primary on the 12th. I also want to encourage anyone that cannot come in to vote and that would qualify to, they can go ahead and mail in applications to us. It can be an informal application, but we do have them available here if they want to make sure they're getting all the correct information before we can mail a ballot out to you. They can pick those up here, or they can call in and we'll mail them one.
You in the past have set some special days, like a Sunday afternoon for voting. Are you going to do that again?
Since we have 2 races that are fairly pretty going to be active, I think we have so many candidates in them in our commissioners' races, and then of course our county judges' race is opposed. We used to just be like on Sunday afternoon, but I'm thinking about, I haven't talked to my party chairs yet, but if they're agreeable, I might see if my workers would want to work all like 8 to 5 on Saturday maybe, and even Sunday afternoon, and give that extra opportunity for the voters to get out to vote.
Are you going to do that in a special location, or again at the same location?
At the same location, be right here by my office. But there again, I want to encourage everybody that needs, like students that are away at college, don't wait till the last minute to come ask for a ballot to be mailed to you, because there are deadlines we have to meet. I believe March 5th is the last day that I can mail a ballot out of this office. It's always 7 days before the election, and I think I'm right on my date, March 5th.
Ballot going to be different in its appearance this year?
No, it will be the optical scan ballot again, where you color in your circle before the name of the candidate that you want to vote for. There's going to be, I feel like with as many candidates as we have, there's going to be 2 sides to the ballot though, and that caused some confusion last time. People, even though it says vote on the other side, you know, people got upset about that because they didn't realize, but they're going to have to turn their ballot over to vote for all the races. I haven't seen my ballot yet, but I feel like it's going to be more than 1 page.
With a Democratic primary and a Republican primary in all the different boxes, are you looking at taking longer to count votes this time?
I hope not. Our machine is really fast, and it can tell the difference between the 2 ballots, and we don't have to sort that out. It can just automatically tell by the coding on the ballots. I feel like there might be a little bit more activity from that, but because of the 2 parties, I don't think that will be a problem. It'll just be everybody getting in here to the courthouse, getting them checked in, and that might take a little bit longer because there's double the amount of boxes coming in. That's what's going to take our time, not the machine counting the ballots, I don't think.
Thanks for watching News Notebooks.
Sports. Written, edited, and produced by the KSST Channel 18 News staff.
Saturday morning, it was the 13th annual Kids Trout Fishing Day at Buford Park. Peavine Pinion Pool, the location of over 1,800 trout that youth fishers from across the area sought to catch. We visited with Shem Ray, a member of the local Kiwanis Club, one of the primary sponsors of this event. Ray was chairperson for the event. It looks like you've had a good turnout.
Yeah, I think we have. Usually we do at this time of the first thing for the trout deal. We've been doing this now, I think, 13 years.
Well, it looks like a fun day. You've got food and everything else going on here.
Good. Tell everybody to come on out. It's too late and early now. We're about out of food.
Well, everyone's been catching a lot of fish, it looks like.
It looks like, I think so. Had a good day.
How many people have been involved in this with you?
Well, of course, the Kiwanis Club has sponsored this for, well, 13 years. Sulphur Springs Kiwanis Club. And it started back, Ben Wood was really the one that started this years ago. And we've been doing it ever since.
It's always nice to have the Parks and Wildlife folks and the Fisheries Division helping out with this.
They always have done the best. I mean, you can't believe how good a job they do to helping us with this.
And 5-year-old Peyton had a successful day. Tell me your name.
Peyton.
Peyton, did you catch this fish?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. What'd you catch him with?
My fishing pole.
All right. What was on the end of that fishing pole that he wanted to eat? Is there corn on the end of it?
There was corn.
Corn? All right. Well, it looks like you've had a great time today. Is this the first fish you caught today?
Anyway, no, I caught 5 already.
Really? All right. Is that the biggest one that you've caught?
Uh-huh.
It is? Yeah. Cool. How old are you?
4.
You're 4. Okay. Do you like to go fishing?
I mean 5.
Okay. Just had a birthday, huh? Do you like to fish?
Uh-huh.
Who takes you fishing?
Anyway, he does.
He does? Well, who is he?
Him.
Him?
Up there.
Well, you're having a good time then, aren't you? Saturday afternoon, the Sulphur Springs High Soccer Cats defeated Paris 2-1 in Paris. Varsity coach Aaron Cottrell.
We beat Paris 2-1. It was a tough game for us. Paris was really gunning for us. They really took it out first half. It was 0-0 at halftime. We scored 2 goals, I believe it was the first 15 minutes of the second half. But I was real proud of our guys. We really took it to them second half, made some adjustments at halftime, and came out with the win.
Let's talk about the goals that you had.
See, we had Slade Daniel with a good throw-in to B.J. Moss. One of our keys on our offense is our throw-ins. Slade Daniel can throw the ball a mile. He threw it into B.J. I told B.J. to get on their goalie to kind of block his vision. He got right on the goalie and went after the ball and put it in the back of the net. I was real proud of B.J. Our second goal, I believe it was B.J. crossed it into Michael Burnson for a goal.
With the play of the team, things are really shaping up for a nice district run here.
Right. We're, I've been working with the guys since I graduated in December. It seems like every game we're getting better and better. Our aggression's really picking up, and our teamwork's really picking up. One of the main things I'm trying to work with the guys is to really spread the field. Our outside midfielders need to really stay wide. But every game is looking better, and it seems like right now we're almost not starting to peak, but we're really starting to build some momentum for some really big games up for the future.
Next up,
we have Texas High at Texas High. Right now we're the top 2 teams in district. We're both undefeated, so it's it's at Grimm Stadium at their house, so it'll be a real big game.
Yeah, that's always a tough place to play.
Right. I played there in high school too. We had some battles out there. So I think the guys are, they're getting focused right now. Like I said, we're building some momentum. We're going to do some run-through practice today, talk about a lot of things, and we'll see where we're at on Tuesday.
Now, this Texas High game will put you basically through the first round?
Right. We have 2 more games after that. We have Ellie and North Lamar. Right now, they're the last 2. They're tied for last. But this is our last, real test of the first round.
The varsity soccer team is now 4-0 in district play. Also on Saturday morning, the Wildcat baseball team hosted a fundraiser. It was a mini camp for our boys grades 1 through 8. It was at Eagle Stadium. Varsity coach Hank Laywell tells us about the success of the day.
Pretty good turnout. It's pretty cool. Saturday morning, but kind of warmed up. Had about 40 campers. Really happy we raised the money that we needed, and just thank everybody for coming out and supporting us, especially the parents that helped us cooking the hot dogs and those type of things.
When you look at baseball season the last few years, district championships, it's kind of given a lot of push and steam to the baseball program here.
Well, I think you have success, and then the younger kids see that and they want to be a part of it, and right now we just have to build on that. I mean, just in our baseball team alone this year, the kids that haven't really started in the past, they want to keep that tradition going and rolling, and that's where we're here, to have public relations. Those kids know us growing up, and that they want to be part of it later on.
If the weather holds Tuesday afternoon?
If the weather holds, we're planning on playing at 5 o'clock here against Paris. If we have snow, sleet, rain, or any other sort of precipitation, we're going to plan on playing it Thursday.
Well, this will give everyone an opportunity to kind of see the new Eagle Stadium.
Right. It'll give us a chance to learn. It gives us a chance to learn our field. We had an inter-squad Friday, and the way it's fixed up, the ball plays a little bit different now. The glare on the stadium, that we have to look at that, and the dugout ball went in the dugouts. I've been here 4 years, and I can't remember a ball going in the dugout. But other than that, we threw 3 or 4 of them in there, and we're just going to have to learn. We're going to have to learn how to play on our field, which will give us a big advantage later because it's not quite the same place.
John McCullough, varsity coach for the Lady Cat softball team, is pleased with the 20-inning scrimmage for his team Saturday. It served as a fundraiser, but it also gave McCullough an opportunity to look at the talent he has available for this year.
Are we comfortable?
Yes.
Are we cold?
Yes.
I'm freezing. Thank you for asking. No.
It went real well. Started off a little cool. Obviously, it was pretty cold that day, but overall, I thought had a real good scrimmage. We played the first 12 innings where we had live pitching, and the batters got to see that, and we played it, just game situations. They went to the plate with 1 ball, 1 strike count. But in those 12 innings, we played that we only had 1 error, and that's what I was very pleased with the defensive effort. Obviously, right now the pitching is going to be ahead of the hitting right now, just because it takes the timing part of hitting. But overall, I was very pleased with it.
When you look at, you used everybody, obviously, so this gave you a good look at everyone. Did you find any surprises in the midst of this?
I can't say there's any surprises. Like I said, we've been with the girls since probably October. As soon as volleyball was over, most of the girls came out and we started working. Right now, the pitching is what I'm really pleased with. Robin Boshears and Holly Watson and Melissa McSheffrey, all 3 pitched very well. I think the score of the 12 innings was 2-1. So in 12 innings, when you've got that good a defense and that good a pitching, which that's my philosophy. That's what we're going to play with. That's what I was very pleased with, the defense and the pitching.
When you look at batting, obviously a lot of practice is going to take care of that, but are you looking at some pretty heavy hitters this year?
I believe so. I think the hitting, like I said, is going to take care of itself. We've got Megan Bell, back from last year, and for district, she hit .471, has exceptional speed, and she did a great job, laid down a perfect bunt the other day and beat that out in the scrimmage. Casey Steele's back. She's been a starter for us the past 2 years and has hit over 300 both years, so I look for her to come around. Jenna Barnes also has hit for us, exceptional last year. Probably be the cleanup hitter for us this year. So, there's several sophomores that look very promising right now. So, I feel like the hitting is going to come around, and I believe we'll have some pop in our bat to go along with our speed.
When do we get underway?
Well, we're supposed to scrimmage tomorrow against Athens and Mesquite Poteet, but the latest weather forecast is calling for a chance of snow tomorrow evening, so I'm not sure how that's going to work out. But if it does, weather permitting, we're supposed to scrimmage Athens at 3:30 tomorrow, and then Athens and Mesquite Poteet will go at 5, and then we'll scrimmage Poteet at 6:30. And if the weather doesn't allow that, then I'll talk to them and see if we can reschedule. And if not, then the varsity's first scrimmage will be Friday against Garland and Rockwall in Rockwall, and the freshmen and JV both scrimmage Rockwall here Thursday night. I believe that starts at 4.
Both Wildcat baseball and Lady Cat softball were district champs and playoff contenders last year. They're hoping to repeat that this year. 14-4A district champs in basketball, the Lady Cats take on Mount Pleasant Tuesday night at Wildcat Gym. The ladies are 1 game away from an undefeated district season. Tuesday night is senior night. The Lady Cat seniors and parents will be recognized in pregame activities prior to the warm-up for the varsity game. KSST will broadcast Tuesday night's game from Wildcat Gym. We'll also videotape the game for replay on Channel 18. The Wildcats are at Mount Pleasant Tuesday. Friday night, the Cats are in Paris. And if all goes as planned, KSST will broadcast the Wildcat Friday night game. North Hopkins Lady Panthers defeated Gannett 66-26 last Friday night. Sarah Weir put up 24 points, Lindsay Horn scored 14, and Hope Harbor had 13. Tuesday, North Hopkins is at Martins Mill to end district play. Also Tuesday, in area basketball, Cumbie is at Saltillo. Miller Grove is at Union Hill. Yantis hosts Bowles. Como-Picton hosts Winona. Friday, Como-Picton hosts Edgewood. Mount Vernon hosts Quitman Tuesday. Thanks for watching News Notebook. Have a great evening.
Hard news, features, and sports. Written, edited, and produced by the KSST Channel 18 News staff.
The snow came early for north and northeast Texas. Forecasters had expected a rain, sleet, snow mix until tonight, when it was to have turned to snow exclusively. That transition happened Tuesday morning. So a snow advisory took effect throughout north and northeast Texas and continues through tonight. This snow and storm is a part of a winter storm that pushed through Oklahoma, Kansas, and Missouri earlier this week. And for them, it was another day with no electricity for thousands of homeowners. But power crews are making progress. More than 1 million homes and businesses in those 3 states were blacked out at the height of the ice and snowstorms that they have experienced this past week. Now that number is down to about 110,000. But bad news for that area in Oklahoma and northern parts of Texas, the snowing has begun again. Last week's snowstorm in Kansas, Oklahoma, and Missouri was blamed for at least 28 deaths as it crashed through the southern plains and stretched all the way to New England. The weather forecast for Sulphur Springs and Hopkins County area through tonight and early Wednesday morning. Snow accumulations between 1 and 3 inches are possible through tonight, with temperatures expected to remain just above freezing. Accumulation should be confined to grassy or elevated areas, and no major problems with accumulation on bridges and overpasses are expected. A snow advisory is always issued when light snow is expected to develop, but only enough to cause minor inconveniences such as travel delays. No severe winter weather is expected at this time. Although Sulphur Springs Independent School District administrative officials are pleased with the new football and basketball district they've been assigned to by the University Interscholastic League, schools that do not agree can pursue a different alignment. Monday, University Interscholastic League officials announced the biennial realignment of schools in Texas. Schools are assigned to class based on attendance figures and to districts based on geographic locations. Sulphur Springs Independent School District Superintendent Dr. Mark Henry is on the review committee should schools seek a different district. Tuesday morning we spoke with Dr. Henry about his position on the committee and about the attitude of Sulphur Springs ISD coaches and administrators toward their new district.
Well, I'm actually a member of the UIL Legislative Council, which represents all the schools throughout the state, and I represent Region 2 of 4A schools, which takes in the Dallas schools, goes all the way down to Tyler, Longview, and then of course east to Texarkana. So I think I represented 49 schools in the last realignment, and I hadn't counted them all up yet, but I do serve in that capacity.
Now what does the board do?
Well, it's basically a rule-making body for the UIL. We're, like I said, I represent the school districts in Region 2, 4A and their concerns at the UIL, and then try to express those and then vote on certain items to help make rules and regulations.
Now you're also on the appeals committee, I believe.
Yes, I'm part of the policy committee, which is a subcommittee of the Legislative Council, and the policy committee serves as the appeals committee for redistricting realignment. So I'll have a meeting in Austin in about 2 weeks to, I'm sure, hear some complaints and some people who just want to move from one district to another. So it'll be the first time I've gone through that process, so it'll be an interesting challenge.
Have you had any warning so far about what people would want changed, or why they would want some changes made?
Well, from what I've seen, there were only 3 mistakes made throughout the state in schools that had requested to stay 5A, even though they have 4A numbers, and then I think Lake Highlands over in that Garland area. They had a mistake and they put them in 4A, and they have 2,800 students, so they'll move those to 5A. So really, I know some people say, how could that happen? You're talking about dealing with well over 1,000 high schools. I don't know the exact number, but it's several hundred, and when you're dealing with those kinds of numbers, there's going to be one or two mistakes, and I think they do an incredible job. I think that there will be a few requests for people who are playing in one district to maybe play in another district if the other districts are a little closer. So that's usually the kind of complaint that you have. There could be one or two schools that want to protest what classification they were put in. Maybe they think they should be in 2A and they were put in 3A, but usually that's pretty well, you know, that's cut and dried. They can check the state audited numbers and those kinds of things. So, but it'll mostly be schools wanting to move from one district to another.
As it relates to Sulphur Springs, this is primarily a football and basketball district, but other than maybe soccer, this is going to include all of the sports and academics, I guess. Right.
For the next 2 years, this will be the group of schools we play with. I don't see anyone in our group wanting to change districts. I think our coaches and Coach McMeans and Coach Turner and the basketball coaches and baseball coaches all felt good about the change. It's still going to be a very challenging district, but I think it's going to be a good group of schools for us to play with and compete with.
Of course, one of the questions everyone's going to raise is about the long-term rivalry that Sulphur Springs and Mount Pleasant have had with one another. Do we perceive maybe some pre-district games that would include them?
Right now, Coach Turner called me yesterday and says he has them scheduled the 5th playing date. So we still have them on the schedule. If the schedule holds like it is, they would be the ball game that we play right before we start district. So that'd be a good tough test before we enter district play. And I'm sure that the basketball coaches and baseball and soccer, that's a big rivalry in soccer, will want to continue that if they're not still in our soccer district, which they could be.
I was going to say soccer, including 4A and 3A, it probably will be much like it is now. One of the teams that Coach Turner had scheduled, and of course Coach Turner and Coach McMeans both in meetings today getting everything lined out, but one of the things that one of the teams that he had scheduled was McKinney North. That was the first game on the pre-district schedule. Now they're part of district, so he's scrambling to fill some dates.
I believe, and I believe he's already filled that. I think he's substituted Wiley in for that. Again, this is all tentative, and you can't actually finalize anything till later this month officially, but I think he's already found replacements for that. And of course, McKinney North will be part of our district now, so that's quite a process. I went in and watched just a little of what was going on yesterday, and it's kind of like being in the war room, watching coaches call coaches scrambling to fill their schedules. But I think we've got a real tentatively a good schedule that'll be that'll be competitive, not real far to drive, and will prepare us for district.
Will this, moving toward the Metroplex, basically with Denison and Sherman and McKinney North, will this save some mileage for the district?
I was trying to kind of figure that up, and I think it's going to be real close to the same by the time you add up. You lose Texas High, which is quite a distance away, but Sherman and Denison are pretty good trips, and McKinney's about 60 miles, I believe. So I think overall it's going to be pretty close to the same, but it could have been a whole lot worse, and I was really pleased the way it turned out.
Pete's driving to Marshall.
Yeah, there's no good reason to drive to Marshall unless you have a child going to school there, college there. So we're pleased, and I think going a different direction is going to be a pretty neat thing for our fans, because there's a lot of good eating places between here and Sherman and Denison and then McKinney, of course. So that'll be a nice change.
There are priorities for all of us, I'm sure.
That's a priority.
As it relates to relationships with these schools, obviously there is going to be a new, if for no longer than 2 years at least, some sense of bonding that's going to go on in administrative leadership between these schools.
Well, that's familiar territory for me, because that's the area I came from and had been up there for 5 years. So I know the superintendent's up that way very well, and we all have a good relationship, and I expect it's going to be a very competitive district, but it's going to be a very friendly, atmosphere to work with, and I'm looking forward to kind of renewing some of those acquaintances.
Now, how much effect will this have on, say, academic UIL competition? Does it have any effect as it relates to that?
I don't know the exact details of that yet, and the reason I say that, Jimmy, is all they really release right now are basketball and football, and the reason being for scheduling purposes, and volleyball, of course, those that are the most immediate. And then some of those other activities like academics, possibly even baseball, but I doubt baseball, and then of course we've talked about soccer. The district could change a little bit, but primarily they want to get football, volleyball, and basketball in because that requires such a great amount of scheduling.
Local school officials side with caution when deciding whether or not to postpone school due to weather conditions. According to Dr. Henry, administrators are up early on bad weather days, checking road conditions, and they continue to watch conditions throughout the day. Henry stated the school has a responsibility for the safety of the student as well as the need of the parent. For working parents, postponing a school day can work a hardship, according to Henry. He said local radio and television are contacted when school closings are necessary.
Well, we get up very early in the morning to check the roads and, of course, keep a constant eye on weather reports. And we've got 4 or 5 of us that get out and check the roads in the morning to make sure the roads are going to be passable. And if there's any doubt in our mind, we will cancel school or back school up, maybe start a little later. But all indications are right now that it doesn't look like the weather's going to get that bad. Maybe tonight, Tuesday night, it might get a little worse, and if it does, we'll be up early tomorrow morning to check the roads and make sure all's clear, because as bad as we hate to give up one of those days in the springtime, we don't want there to be any danger on the road. So we usually side on the we usually are very cautious in our decision, and if we think there's any problems, we'll cancel school or back it up, start a little later.
Sometimes it's necessary to dismiss school a little early. What's the criteria on that?
Again, we keep an eye on the roads all day, and we keep an eye on the weather reports, and if we see that something's coming this way, obviously we're much more cautious. A couple of years ago, we had the weather turn very bad about 9 in the morning, and we had to scramble to get everyone home. So again, we stay on the side of caution, and if there's any doubt, we try to get the young people home. But we also understand that parents are not always prepared for that, so we try to be very considerate of parents and have school if at all possible, because I know they depend on us.
Again, let's talk about how you notify the public regarding those changes.
We'll always call the local radio stations. We'll contact the newspaper if we see that anything's going to happen that they could get out in time. But usually we contact the radio stations and a couple of TV stations that are commonly seen in our area.
What time of day do you normally make this contact?
In the morning, we try to make a decision by 5:45 or 6 o'clock at the latest, because our buses start very early. As early as we can make it, that's when we do that. A lot of times it's very difficult to tell until 5:30 or 6 o'clock. I think since I've been here, there hasn't been an easy call yet where you just knew you couldn't go. I would rather it be really bad or not bad at all, and then it's an easy decision. But again, we try to be considerate of the people that depend on us and have school if possible, and if it can be held safely.
A special meeting of the Hopkins County Commissioners Court is set for Friday. The court will approve a bid package before advertising regarding the roof for the county jail. Other routine business is also on the agenda. A 5-1 loss Monday night at Gerald Prim Stadium for Lady Cat Soccer. The ladies lost to the North Lamar Pantherettes. Lana McFarland scored the lone Lady Cat goal. Varsity coach Kathy Weaver tells us about the loss.
Had everything going for us, had lots of opportunities. They had a very good goalie. Pushed the defense up, pulled my goalie out, shot over her head. Pushed the defense back, did beat us. Had 2 very good attackers. they were not that much better than us, other than every opportunity we had, their goalie took advantage of us and just took it away from us. My kids never gave up. They kept fighting, kept working. It just made me sick to my stomach. I was so disappointed and so just killed for my kids. We'd been doing so well, had such a good attitude, and might have been a little overconfident going in, but they beat us on the defensive end. That's just the bottom line of it.
Speaking of being sick, you had some who were.
Oh, Melissa Hawley was sick the whole entire game, and I said, "Why didn't you tell me that you were sick?" And she said, "I didn't want you to get mad." Throwing up on the sidelines as she ran. Finally, Jerica Pickle said, "Coach, she is sick. She's throwing up." So we took her out. She was just shivering. She could not even function. Ashley Petty has been down. You know, it just takes a little bit to recover from that. Kaylee Thompson's out with still waiting to find out about her head from the Mesquite game. We just have a lot of illness. Maybe this snow will take everything out. We'll get a little rest and come back ready to play Mount Pleasant on Saturday.
Still 2-1, nothing really to get down about.
Not anything to get down about other than just messing up a little winning streak that we felt like we had going. And it's still good, and they've got to face us again. I hate that it's going to be on their home turf, but yeah, we'll come back. We'll be better prepared for them this time.
Saturday, the ladies are in Mount Pleasant. The Lady Cats are 2-1 in district play. Wildcat Baseball has rescheduled the game for Tuesday night against Paris due to weather conditions. That game will be played Thursday at the newly remodeled Eagle Stadium beginning at approximately 5 p.m. Tomorrow evening, we bring you a report on the Sulphur Springs City Council meeting in regular session tonight. Thanks for watching News Notebook. Have a great evening.
Hard news, features, and sports. Written, edited, and produced by the KSST Channel 18 News.
Sulphur Springs City Council approved every item on their agenda Tuesday night during their February regular session. The council approved the second reading of 4 zoning changes, each changing zoning to heavy commercial. Councilman Bill Watts questioned if the request for rezoning of Molina's restaurant to heavy commercial fit the zoning pattern sought by the Planning and Zoning Commission.
Second comment?
I would ask on second reading, the question I asked on the former reading, is this lot destined to be zoned heavy commercial in the future in accordance with our master plan?
They approved the tourism and promotion budget and the contract with Hopkins County Chamber of Commerce. 2 first reading of zoning ordinances, one concerning property located on the corner of Main Street and Highway 19, the other property located on Tennessee Street. 4 resolutions, one calling for a city council election and one for a tax resale for property. The other 2 related to grants. One, in which the city council yielded to Hopkins County for a juvenile grant. The other, a grant for the tactical narcotics team. Council also approved a request from Chili's Restaurant for a special use permit that will allow the sale of alcohol. Bill Watts made the motion. Larry Willman seconded the motion, but Watts had a question.
Is it true that this council is just bothered with this for no reason? Because we really don't have anything to say about it anyway? Is that true?
In terms of, there's not a legal reason why
well, that's the only reason
it shouldn't be approved. That's correct. Okay. And that's the opinion. That's correct.
But we really have nothing to say about
it. That's basically correct.
I have a question, though. Is this a private club, or is it just for anybody that comes in and sits down and decides to eat and order a drink?
They'll have to have a membership.
Will it be off to itself, or will it be everywhere in the restaurant?
How will that be administered? How will they administer it?
Now, I'm assuming that the way they'll administer it is wherever they seat you, if you have a membership in their private club, they'll serve you alcoholic beverages there. In other words,
Have you ever been in one that they do that?
there's no requirement that the spaces be segregated. It's just like going to Chili's and Rockwall, same kind of deal.
Any other questions?
You know, I'm against this, and I know maybe that I'll be voted down and everything, but whenever I was elected by the people I was elected by, I told them, you know, that I would try to encourage business to come into our area, and I look forward to Chili's coming in, and I just wish they'd bring their grill and leave their bar at home. You know, we may not have any voice, we might not have any say, but, and I know our EDC has worked hard to bring Chili's in, and I appreciate all the work that they do. And I want us to have good restaurants.
EDC hasn't brought...
Pardon me?
EDC has nothing to do with Chili's.
Oh, they didn't have anything to do with Chili's at all? Well, I guess I got some misinformed information because...
EDC can't spend the money on retail establishments.
Yeah, okay. Well, maybe it was just our Chamber of Commerce then. Maybe that's... But anyway, I know that, you know, people want Chili's to come in, and maybe it'll be good for business, but I'm just against bringing any more alcohol into our area.
Okay, thank you. I'd like to say one thing, too, to reflect the vote that I'm going to cast, and I'm sure most people know the vote I'll vote on anyway, but I am inclined to feel as Gary. I am not against any restaurant coming, and I think the name brands are wonderful, and I know that they will not come unless the alcohol. But I feel very strongly about alcohol, just as Gary does, and I feel like that we have tried in schools and other areas in drug education to say no, and then we as adults think it's great and okay to sit in front of our kids and drink, and I feel like it's a wrong example. But I am not voting against Chili's, and so I do want that to be very, very strong. Okay, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? No. No.
Sulphur Springs High School Athletic Director Dwayne McMeans is not surprised that the local school is now in a new athletic district which includes schools to the west. McMeans says the only surprise is that Mount Pleasant was separated from Sulphur Springs by the UIL district realignment.
Well, we felt like all going in that there were going to be some changes, and I already felt like there were going to be some changes because of the 5A schools in East Texas coming down with Texas High, who used to be a 5A school, and Pine Tree, who was a 5A school, and now Marshall. You know, at one time they were all in the same district. Since they all moved down to 4A, they really grouped them back together, which, you know, takes Texas High down. So I thought that was going to happen. I was surprised that Mount Pleasant and Sulphur Springs were separated because they've been together for so long. But we kind of thought we would go west. You know, just looking at if there was a change with Texas High, that would throw us west, and I didn't know what the grouping would be. And I think it's a good district overall that we're in. I think it's a competitive district. You know, we've lost Texas High and Mount Pleasant, who were really strong, and we're getting Denison and Sherman, who are really strong also. So it's a pretty good swap. We've scrimmaged Denison and played Sherman, so we know pretty well what we're getting into, and we've played them in basketball, and we've gone to track meets with them in some different sports. We played them in baseball. We played them in soccer this year, Denison. So that's one of the teams, or they're some of the teams that we try to play in non-district anyway because of their distance. So I think it'll be a good district. I think it'll be competitive. It'll be different because I don't think that group of schools have ever been together in a district. So that'll be new, and it'll be exciting.
How much difficulty does this pose in rescheduling when you're really, you know, thrown in with 3 new schools and looking at trying to reset the order of things?
Yeah, what you do, you know, we realign every 2 years, and you try to think going into realignment, are these people going to be in our district or not? So you try to schedule non-district opponents that you feel like it's not going to be in your district if you do get changed. And that's what Brad did. And, you know, we talked about it. And the teams that we're playing, we didn't feel like they'd probably be in our district. We did get one, McKinney North, who we had a non-district game with. So we had to make a switch with that. But you know, with Mount Pleasant being 30 miles away, just trying to keep that rivalry. You know, we were able to we didn't know if we were going to get them on the schedule because we had to do some switching around some games to work it out. But that's a good rivalry with Sulphur Springs and Mount Pleasant, and, you know, just the distance and all that. So we were able to keep them on the schedule. But that was really the only change we had to make. So, you know, you try to think, are they going to be in our district? If they move us, what's the possibility now? If you get 3 or 4 teams, it's a mess, because now you're looking for games that you probably can't find. And I know there's people calling us right now, and people are looking for games. And it's kind of what we got into a couple of years ago when we played Waco Midway. You just couldn't find games around, so you had to go travel a distance to get it. But ours worked out well for us this time.
Soccer currently is in a different district alignment because 3A schools are involved with it. Are there any other sports that will perhaps be in a different district alignment when we go into next year?
No, soccer would be the only one, and I really don't know what's going to happen in soccer. I don't know if we'll all just have a 6-team district over there in soccer, or, you know, still with the 3A schools playing, that creates the 8 teams in district, because there's not enough 3A schools to make up their own district, and 3A and 4A playing together. So the changes, if there are any changes in a district, it will be in soccer. You know, Greenville right now, who's in our district and everything else, they go to the Metroplex to be in, they're in the Highland Park Mesquite Poteet district. So I kind of look for them to come back into our district in soccer, you know, with Denison and Sherman, and I'm sure McKinney North will probably have a soccer team, and of course Paris does, which would make a good group right there. And where Commerce would fall, I don't know if they would push them over into that district also, because, you know, Commerce is between us and Greenville. So if we're going to be in a district, I would think Commerce would go with us, and there may be an 8-team district go that way. So it'll be interesting to see what they do in soccer.
McKinney North is a new school. How new is this school?
It's brand new. They'll be playing sophomores and juniors next year. They won't have a senior group of kids, and that's commonly what new schools do. They'll come in when they're juniors. They played a JV schedule and everything last year, and then when they get to be juniors, it's when they start their varsity schedule. And, you know, with the growth in that area, they probably won't be 4A very long. You know, I could see them being in the district 2 years, maybe 4 years, and then bumping up to 5A, just because all the growth in that area of the state.
Over a period of time, you build a relationship with athletic directors at various schools, and obviously you've had a chance to build that relationship with the guys in the current district. How well do you know the ADs in the other district? And
Well, of course, you know, Noel Benton for the last 20 years at Paris, so he'll be over there with us. And Greenville's got the new athletic director and coach, Coach Autry, and, you know, we've got, and since he came in the last year, you know, we've started building a relationship. And Coach Tips, I've known Coach Tips for a while just because we've played Sherman on and off for the last 7 years. And Coach Brown, the same at Denison. You know, we've played them or scrimmaged them since we've been here. So we know them. We just haven't been in meetings with them. You know, sometimes when you get to the meetings and what you're trying to get accomplished may be a little bit different. But our district over here has always worked well as far as trying to do what's best for kids. And I would think they would be the same over there.
And in sports, Tuesday night's game between the 14-4A district champ Lady Cats and the Mount Pleasant Lady Tigers, set for Wildcat Gym, will be played Thursday night. Junior varsity at 4:30, the varsity at 6. This will be senior night for the locals. The Lady Cats are 1 game away from an undefeated district season. KSST Radio will broadcast the Lady Cat game. We'll also videotape the game for replay on Channel 18 Saturday evening at 6 p.m. KSST Radio will also broadcast live the Chamber of Commerce banquet conducted Thursday evening at the Regional Civic Center. We'll join the banquet in progress following the Lady Cat game. The Wildcats and Mount Pleasant basketball game has been reset for Thursday night. Friday night, the Cats are at Paris. KSST will broadcast Friday night's Wildcat Paris game and videotape that game for replay on Channel 18 immediately following the Lady Cat game. Wildcat Soccer will play Texas High Thursday night. The Tuesday night game canceled because of field conditions. The Cats are 4-0 in district play. The Cats will host Liberty Ilo Friday night at Primm Stadium. Thursday at 5 o'clock, Wildcat Baseball will scrimmage Paris in the newly remodeled Eagle Stadium if the field is dry, according to varsity coach Hank Laywell. Friday, the Cats are in Kilgore for a scrimmage. And Saturday, Lady Cat Soccer in Mount Pleasant. The Lady Cats are 2-1 in district play. Thanks for watching News Notebook. Have a great evening.
features, and sports. Written, edited, and produced by the KSST Channel 18 News staff.
Over 800 are expected to attend the Hopkins County Chamber of Commerce 76th Annual Membership Banquet in the Regional Civic Center Arena tonight. The patriotic-themed event begins with a reception at 6:30, dinner served at 7. Casey Pipes, White House Associate Director of the Office of Strategic Initiatives, is the guest speaker. Citizen of the Year, Woman of the Year, Agriculturalist of the Year, Visionary Award, and other honors will be presented during the evening, according to Bill Elliott, Executive Director of the Chamber of Commerce.
We have, last count, 801 folks who have registered to come to the banquet tonight, which will be the biggest one we've ever had. We've gotten close to 800 before, but never surpassed it. It looks like we're going to this time.
Well, the patriotic theme seems to be played out quite well here.
It is very well. It looks like somebody just burped red, white, and blue everywhere, which is what we had planned and anticipated. In fact, the decorating committee has done a fantastic job out here. You'd never recognize this as a dairy barn or rodeo arena, I'll assure you. It looks like a banquet hall. These are the Kiwanis Club flags scattered around the room. The symphony bunting is hanging on the walls. We've got a flag, a huge flag that the Civic Center, flag decoration that the Civic Center owns.
The color guard tonight will emphasize the patriotic theme.
Absolutely. We have a U.S. Army color guard coming to post the colors, and also we will retreat the colors tonight. So that's something that we don't normally do, but we wanted to make it that formal this time. So they will come back and retreat the colors at the end of the banquet before everyone breaks up.
Now, also, I noticed the placemats this year. You have some very colorful placemats.
Yes, we do. We've had some students in Hopkins County and Sulphur Springs school districts awfully busy coloring and making patriotic placemats, and they've done a wonderful job. They're scattered throughout the room on all the tables. They're not all colored, but we've got some that are just plain red. The little flags on every table. And as I say, everything's just red, white, and blue everywhere.
Well, and the awards that will be presented tonight are also very special.
Absolutely. Of course, they're always special. The Citizen of the Year, of course, is one of the major awards we give. The Vision Award is another award that's been added a couple of years ago. We've got the Lady of the Year Award, which is provided by Beta Sigma Phi. Our Agriculturalist of the Year, which the professional ag workers handle each time. The 1994, I believe, leadership class does the Community Pride Awards, and we've got an Educator of the Year Award that we will hand out to some educator in the county. Has been selected from the past educators of the semester for this year, and then we've got the Ambassador of the Year.
So it's going to be a full night.
It's going to be a full night. We also have the community choir, which has agreed to sing to us, and they're going to do several patriotic numbers, which ought to be a treat in itself.
Well, we're looking at a 6:30 start for a mixer.
That's true. 6:30 start for a mixer, get everyone here and find their places, and then by 7 o'clock we hope to be lined up serving food.
KSST Radio will broadcast tonight's Chamber of Commerce banquet beginning at approximately 7:45 p.m. The event will be videotaped for replay on Channel 18 at a later date. Relay for Life draws closer to their May 3rd and 4th event. Relay for Life is a fundraiser for the local American Cancer Society. According to Jennifer Smith with Relay for Life, 17 teams signed up during a recent information event on the downtown square in Sulphur Springs, and she announces the team captain's luncheon set for February 19th.
We'd like to say thank you to all the ones that did come out for the rally on the square. We had 17 teams sign up. We had 4 survivors come and sign up. And then we also had more phone calls coming in after that. So it's already off to a really good start. We have, the letters went out to the businesses this week for underwriting events and the money for those things. And then we also sent out letters to past team captains to invite them back to be another team captain and to the luncheon. The team's captain luncheon is going to be February 19th from 12 to 1 o'clock at First Baptist Church Activity Center. There's going to be parking off of Putman Street for them to use, and that's about it right now.
Sulphur Springs High School Distributive Education Clubs of America placed 3 students during recent district-level competition. The 3 will compete at state competition in Austin, February 28th. Shelby Hayes was second in Vehicle and Petroleum Marketing. Hayes works for a local auto body shop. Melissa McKinney placed first in Quick Serve Restaurant Management. She works for Sonic Drive-In. And Britt Bailey, who works for a local shoe store, was 4th in Retail Merchandising Associates level Rick Cook serves as sponsor for the DECA program locally.
These three are Shelby Hayes, Melissa McKinney, and Brett Bailey. They will be going to Austin February the 28th.
Now, what did they play for?
Melissa placed first in quick serve restaurant management. Brett Bailey, he placed fourth in retail merchandising associate level, and Shelby Hayes, he placed second in vehicle and petroleum marketing. This is in his field of work. He works for a body shop, and so we entered him in vehicle marketing. And Melissa, quick serve restaurant, she works for the Sonic, so we entered her in quick serve restaurant. Brett Bailey, he works for a local shoe store, and he was entered in just retail merchandising.
Now, just giving them an opportunity then to put on a competitive level that which they are experiencing and learning in the workplace.
Right. And if they do well at state, they will go on to national. It is written. There's 100 questions written, and then they have role playing. And they're given a situation that they read, and then they have to go before judges and act it out.
Hopkins County Memorial Hospital Community Development Council serves as a liaison between the hospital board and people who reside in the area served by the hospital. The 24 council members utilize their position of leadership within the area to promote the hospital and serve to communicate to the board the public reaction to the local hospital, according to Sherry Moore, Director of Marketing and Managed Care for Hopkins County Memorial Hospital.
The Community Development Council is a group of citizens that are asked to be liaisons into the community, and what they do is they attend a quarterly meeting that's held 4 times a year at the hospital, and we give them information about the hospital, and then we ask them to share that information either through their business or through their community activities that they're involved in. So we have 11 new members, so we're real excited about the people that are coming on board, and they seem to be real excited about all the things that they're going to learn. We had our first meeting in January, and we took them on just an overall tour of the hospital just so they could get a feel for all the services that we do provide.
The purpose of this committee basically allows people in the community to find out more about the hospital, but also to express their concerns regarding the hospital.
Correct. We ask these individuals to be, spokespersons for the hospital, but also if they hear concerns or comments regarding the hospital, we ask them to route those to us so that we can look into those or investigate those. Whether it's a positive comment or a negative comment, we want to hear those, and that's what we ask these people to do, is kind of be our eyes and ears out there in the community.
Now, the leadership of this group changes from year to year, and currently?
Currently, our chairperson is Israel Lewis, and he's real excited about being involved, and we've got a lot of neat things already planned. They'll be helping us with our Employee Appreciation Picnic, which will be in May, and it's going to be Hospital Week. We've set that for May the 15th. It'll be during Hospital Week, and so some of the other people on the committee will be helping us serve our employees that particular event, and so we've got that planned, and then we'll, of course, do our Lights of Life campaign in the fall, next fall.
With this group, does the hospital take seriously the things that they hear from the coordinating council?
Yes, I would say that they've done a lot of neat things in the past. Of course, they got the Lights of Life campaign started, which is really neat and been going on for a number of years now. Our bone density machine was a result of a Community Development Council member. Our A to Z cookbook was a result of a Community Development Council member. So we really appreciate their input. They have some insight, a lot of times, that things that we don't see that they can recommend that we can be involved in. So we encourage people to talk to the Community Development Council members and make sure that they're sharing information that they want relayed to the hospital, because that's what the goal is.
New members appointed to the Community Development Council include Martin Bell, Joe Chenault, Darren Gray, Jennifer Gregory, Brenda Love, Connie Mabe, Kevin Monk, Ralph Pruce, Keith Shurtleff, James Van Winkle, and Gina Watson. They join second-year members Renee Aguilar, Carol Allen, C.J. Duffy, Pat Gerald, Rowena Johnson, Polly Swatzel, Randy Wallace, Bill Watts, Wally Williams, Jimmy Rogers, physician Dr. Annette Horn, and board member Dawn Sheffield. Sulphur Springs Symphony League presents the Northeast Texas Symphony Orchestra in concert Friday, February 15th at 7:30. The concert sounds, featuring selections from Spanish composers, will fill the sanctuary of Central Baptist Church, 840 Conley Street. Tickets are $10 each. Frank Smith serves as president of the Sulphur Springs Symphony League.
Next Friday night, February the 15th at 7:30 p.m. We're looking forward to a great evening of music. The theme is Spanish composers and Spanish themed music. There is one major change this year that we want everybody to remember. The concert is not at the Civic Center auditorium as everyone's used to, but we're, through the kindness of the people at Central Baptist Church, we're having it in their auditorium this year. It's a smaller space. It should be easier for us to fill. And the music, actually, I've been told by musicologists, it will sound better. And it's, in a way, it's a return to what this type of music was originally intended for. It was originally written for, mostly for sacred spaces. So we're looking forward to a great evening at 7:30 at Central Baptist Church on Conley Street.
Tickets?
Tickets are for sale right now, right here. Even as we speak, I have them on my desk. Also, to everybody that's on our mailing list, we have sent 6 tickets, I believe, to all of our members and all of our mailing list people, so that they've got them in hand and they can either send us send a check to pay for them, or they can pay for them at the door. But we will not turn anybody away. So if you don't have a ticket, show up. And in a related item that I'd like to ask your help in letting everybody know about, we canceled this week's Symphony Board meeting because of the snow. And so we'd like to ask everybody who's interested. I've rescheduled the meeting for tomorrow, this Friday, at 4 o'clock here at the Chamber in the boardroom. So if anybody is interested in coming to that, please do so. Oh, well, not special things to be done for us necessarily, but special things that are on the program. We have a classical Spanish guitarist who will be appearing from with the orchestra as a featured artist, and we have a woman with a voice that I have been told we will not believe, a soprano that has a long and distinguished career as an opera singer, is going to appear with the orchestra also. So it should be just a phenomenal evening.
Tuesday night, during the February meeting of the Sulphur Springs City Council, City Manager Mark Maxwell made his monthly report.
Dual construction is just ever so close to being finished on the water treatment plant improvements. They're working on the last few items on a punch list, but they are nearly finished. And Sisk Utilities has finished the bores beneath Highway 19 and beneath Highway 11. That will allow us to perform the final connection on the alternate discharge line. That will give us 2 discharge lines in the water treatment plant in case one of them ruptures. At the wastewater treatment plant, they produce effluent with a total average suspended solids count of 4.28 milligrams per liter, which is pretty good considering that during a good portion of the month they had shut down the southern portion of the plant for preventative maintenance. You may recall that in previous months I reported they had problems on the northern half of the plant. They identified the problem and fixed it, and then they decided they'd check the southern half of the plant to avert the same problems, and it did appear as though we were headed for the same situation there. So I'm pleased to report that we're doing well at the wastewater treatment plant. On the capital improvements front, the Capital Construction Division is still working on the Carter Street project. You might recall that is a water and sewer project. The sewer phase is done. We're about to begin the water phase. When that is finished, Carter Street will receive a plant mix seal similar to what we did on Houston Street and Buford Circle in the past. At Coleman Park, the weather has hampered our efforts quite a bit out there. We're still making some progress, though. We now have a concrete pathway from the spillway at the dam. Basically, you can walk from there all the way to the soccer fields on concrete. So we're better than halfway done on the walking path. You may have seen in the media that the Parks and Recreation Commission met out there, chose a site for a fishing pier and for a swimming area. And I would like to say this about that swimming area. This is something that we have discussed on a staff level. We have discussed at the commission. It is not something that has been decided or budgeted for. This is simply planning for if in the future we wish to have one. That decision would ultimately need to be made by the city council. So the word was out there in the press, and I wanted to clarify that for everybody right now. That is not a done deal yet. We'll bring it to you to make that decision at some future point. At the airport terminal, we're nearly done there as well. The painting is done in the interior. They're installing cabinets and tile, air conditioning registers and the like. We should be finished very, very soon. We had 2 workers' compensation claims in January. One capital construction employee bruised his foot and lost 5 days' worth of work, and a police officer was exposed to HIV. We're glad that the preliminary test results are negative. He'll go in for follow-up tests after 6 months. We do have 1 liability claim from a sewer backup in a home, and that claim is pending at TML. Mr. Carsons has our month-end financial report, which he'll be glad to answer questions about after this, and have the usual list of miscellaneous items. I can tell you that we have received construction drawings from Chili's, and according to our chief building official, they look very good.
Thanks for watching News Notebook. Have a great evening.
Written, edited, and produced by the KSST Channel 18 News staff.
Patsy Johnson, a volunteer involved in local, regional, and state organizations, was named Hopkins County Citizen of the Year. Lucy Vaden, director of the Community Chest, was named Woman of the Year. David and Alan Screws, local dairy farmers, were named Agriculturalist of the Year. And Bill Bradford, president and general manager of KSST Radio and Channel 18 Television, received the Vision Award at the 76th Annual Hopkins County Chamber of Commerce banquet Thursday night. It was the largest attendance ever for a local chamber banquet, with over 800 in attendance. In introducing Johnson, the recipient of the Citizen of the Year Award, Linda Hager, last year's recipient, stated,
Patsy has served this community in all capacities over the years. This also brings out her activities that have directly had an influence on our children and statewide children. I have never ceased to be amazed at her accomplishments at the local, state, national levels, and she has given unselfish of her time and herself to make Hopkins County a better place to live.
It immediately became my home. I felt comfortable. I knew I had found a place that, as Jill said tonight, welcomed me, and I've never looked back. But I would like to accept this honor tonight in honor of all those wonderful volunteers who I've worked with over the years. This is a very unselfish community with a lot of wonderful people.
Eileen Harris with Beta Sigma Phi introduced Lucy Vaden as Woman of the Year.
The lady chosen this year for the Woman of the Year
is a native of Hopkins County. She grew up as an only child in the Birthright Hopkins County community. She graduated from Sulphur Springs High School, and though she moved away for a while, she came back to her roots, where she plans to stay in Hopkins County. She has a husband, 2 daughters, 5 grandchildren, and 1 great-grandchild. She is an active member of Shannon Oaks Church of Christ. She performs multiple volunteer activities for the community. One of her most admirable personal characteristics is her modesty. She never wants to receive praise or recognition on her own behalf, asking nothing in return. She has served as mentor for children and adults of all ages from all walks of life. She possesses no bias or prejudice at all. She quietly and without fanfare accomplishes what she sets out to do, providing the most appropriate empathy for the people and doing all within her power to get them what they need. She has always put other people first, putting them before her own needs. She has always been willing to go beyond what is expected of her. The 2002 Woman of the Year is Lucy Spencer Vaden.
Monica Littlefield, outgoing chairperson of the board for the Hopkins County Chamber of Commerce, introduced Bill Bradford, the recipient of the Vision Award.
For over 50 years, KSST has been a corporate citizen committed to the growth and success of Hopkins County, providing news coverage in detail, promoting area events unselfishly and without bias, making themselves available to all organizations within our listening area on a consistent and dependable basis. Bill Bradford was named the Texas Association of Broadcasters Pioneer Award winner in 1992 and received the Elliott Roosevelt Award from the Texas State Network in 1993 for his outstanding cooperation in every aspect of the relationships between the affiliate and the network. We want to congratulate you, Bill, for your award.
I do not deserve this, but I will try to earn it. And I'm still working on that one, and here we go with another one, and thank you very much.
Other awards included Shirley Benson, Educator of the Year, P.K. Harris, Chamber Ambassador of the Year, and named Community Pride winners, Sulphur Springs Fire Department, Hopkins County Fire Department, and the Sirens, the Sulphur Springs Fire Department Auxiliary. Casey Pipes, White House Associate Director of the Office of Strategic Initiatives, reminded those present that America is a nation of courage and character. The event was videotaped for playback on Channel 18 at a later date. We'll soon announce that day. An investigation by Tactical Narcotics Team officers led to Hopkins County Sheriff's officers delivering a drug-related arrest warrant Thursday. As TNT officers watched the suspect's residence while awaiting sheriff's officers, circumstances led to the confiscation of 28 grams of methamphetamine, over $1,000 in cash, and a Ford Ranger pickup. Karen Phillips Smith, age 46, was arrested on the warrant. 49-year-old Perry William Harvey Jr. of Ben Franklin was arrested for possession of methamphetamine with intent to deliver. He was on parole from the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. His parole has been revoked, according to Sammy Weaver with TNT.
Ron Plasko, who's the assistant commander of the TNT Task Force, and Matt Hooper, who was an investigator with the TNT Task Force, went to the Hammond Mobile Home Park located east of Sulphur Springs in Hopkins County, Texas, to serve a outstanding narcotics warrant on a lady by the name of Karen Phillips Smith who lived there. And they got to the area of her residence and saw that she was at home, and so they called the Sheriff's Department here at Hopkins County to get a marked unit to come out there to make the arrest and serve the warrant. And while they were waiting for a Hopkins County Sheriff's deputy to come to the location, they saw a blue Ford Ranger pickup showed up there, and Miss Smith came out and talked to the driver of the vehicle, and they both left simultaneously. So the TNT officers followed them to see where they were going, and they started into Sulphur Springs, and they made radio contact with the sheriff's deputy and told them which direction they were going. They come into town, and the deputy stopped Karen Phillips Smith in the area of the Best Western Motel, and the driver of the blue Ford Ranger pickup pulled into the Burton's parking lot. And Jay Sanglin with Hopkins County Sheriff's Department then arrested Karen Phillips Smith on the outstanding narcotics warrant, and officers Plasko and Hooper with the TNT Task Force then made contact with the driver of the Ford Ranger pickup in the Burton's parking lot, and he was identified as Perry William Harvey Jr., a 49-year-old white male from Delta County. And during the course of the interview with him, it was discovered he had a large amount of suspected methamphetamine on his person, and they were all bagged up in small bags where they were ready to sell. And Ronnie Doss, a member of the Sulphur Springs Police Department, came to assist the officers at that location. And here we had two officers from two different jurisdictions, both of them helping out on these traffic stops here in locations adjacent to each other here in Sulphur Springs. And Ronnie Doss then arrested Perry Harvey for the possession of the methamphetamine and took him to the Hopkins County Jail. And Jay Sanglin arrested Karen Phillips Smith for the outstanding narcotics warrant. And then during the inventory of her car, something they have to do, it's required by law, was also some more methamphetamine was found in her car, and she was also arrested and charged with another offense on that for possession of methamphetamine, along with the outstanding warrant she was arrested on.
Sammy, the male subject that was arrested, I believe he was on parole.
That's correct. He is on parole from Texas Department of Criminal Justice, and has not been out of prison too long. And the parole board was contacted yesterday also, and notified of that, and they issued a blue warrant on him also yesterday.
Do you know what the convictions were that had been sentenced on and was paroled on?
I think it was for delivery of a controlled substance out of Hunt County.
And also, I believe he was a sexual offender.
That, I think, happened while he was incarcerated in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice.
The cash that was seized in this, how is it titled?
The cash, there was over $1,000 in United States currency seized off of Perry Harvey, and due to the fact that all of the methamphetamine that he had on his person was already packaged up for sale in bags, and they all weighed approximately the same amount, and so the cash is being forfeited under 59
vehicles.
Ford Ranger pickup's also going to be forfeited due to the fact that it was a conveyance that he was using to go around and distribute methamphetamine out of it.
Do you think these two are tied with any other individuals in the local area?
The investigation had been ongoing for some time, and we think there are probably a few other individuals connected with them. Mr. Harvey had his little personal phone book with him that has got several names and phone numbers of people that we are acquainted with in this area, that the investigation will continue on the information we obtain there.
Hopkins County Commissioners Court approved a bid packet that will lead to letting a contract for the reconstruction of the county jail roof. The roof has posed a problem for the county for some time. Commissioners will now seek to solve that problem with a total reconstruct. And Commissioners Court approved the bid packet in special session Friday. The court will meet in regular session Monday. They face a routine agenda. 10-0 in district. For the first time, the Lady Cats have successfully completed an undefeated district season. The Lady Cats defeated Mount Pleasant 84-45 Thursday night at Wildcat Gym. The ladies were off to a quick start with a 31-5 lead in the first quarter. Cooler shooting for the locals left the halftime score 53-22. Ruth Jimerson scored 22 points. Stacy Moore had 19 for the night. Jimerson, Moore, and Heather Knighton, Lady Cat seniors, were honored prior to the start of the game. Varsity coach Karen Hoffman tells us about the victory for the Lady Cats.
Great win for us last night. We ended in the perfect 10-0 district championship. The girls are feeling good and we're playing well.
Did you know this was the first time in school history that the girls have basketball has gone with undefeated in district?
No, I didn't. I had asked a few people if they knew if it ever happened before, and they really weren't certain. I had even asked Billy from the paper if he had known anything about it, and he said he'd do some checking, but no, I didn't know that. That's great.
Well, we're getting ready for a warm-up game?
Yeah, we're going to try to play Monday. It may be against Quinlan Ford or it may be against Leonard. I may know more this evening. But as far as our playoff game, it'll be Thursday, Friday, or Saturday. We're kind of in the weights. We don't know.
Who's the possible victim?
Probably it's going to be Carthage, or the winner of the Athens-Palestine will play Carthage, and we've got that game. And Athens-Palestine will play this evening, and the loser, the runner-up of that district, will play Carthage, and then we've got that game next weekend.
Girls really played well.
I think they are playing outstanding. Everybody, the bench comes in, have contributed, and we didn't fall back any. And I mean, all 10 have contributed, and it's good. I think we're peaking at the right time, and we're hitting our shots, we're rebounding well, we're pushing the ball, and that's what we're gonna have to do.
You split your starters up and sent them in with some different mix, but even with that, they played well.
Yeah, I think so. I think the bench, they've been working hard in practice. They've been looking good in practice, and then it showed in the game. And I think all the confidence is going with all their heads, and I think we're where we need to be.
Thursday night's Lady Cat win can be seen on Channel 18 Saturday evening at 6 p.m. And as soon as the post-district play gets underway, we'll announce the schedule. The Wildcats are in third place in 14-4A boys basketball after defeating Mount Pleasant 67-54 Thursday night in Mount Pleasant. There were 6 lead changes and 5 ties in the first half. Sulphur Springs led 30-25 at the half. Robert DeLima hit a career 21 points, including 3 three-pointers. Zach Burney hit 17, Mylan Ivory 15. Tonight, the Lady Cats are in Paris. Varsity coach Steve Glover.
It was a good win, exciting win. We played really good basketball defensively and offensively, and we pretty much controlled the game from start to finish, and that was a big plus. I knew our guys would bounce back after having some tough losses, and it's even going into this Thursday, Friday, and Tuesday stretch, 3 games in 5 days. It's in our hands what we want to do with it, and so. But we played a really good game. I wish we could play Mount Pleasant every night, because there's just something about them, and it just brings out the best in our team, and we've got to bring that out tonight against Paris and then against Greenville on Tuesday. And we had good distribution of the ball last night, good defensive effort, several guys scoring. Significant, I think, a couple with 19, one with 15, a couple with 8, and so we had really good, rebounded real well and kept their post kids off the boards and kept their good scorer Hines to limit him to 9 points. So it was a really good effort. Turnovers were only 15. We had 11 in the last game, 15, so our turnovers are starting to drop a little bit. So everything's just a good night, and it's nice when you get control of it and you do what you want to do, and we just kept grinding away. And even when we got to fourth quarter, I think we're up 15 or 16. I told them, well, it's not over. And then we had a mental lapse there in the fourth quarter. We had 2 or 3 guys playing one defense and 2 or 3 others playing other, and they got 2 or 3 wide open shots, and I called timeout. And then we all realized that we were all running different defenses, and so when we put it back together and everybody went back on the floor, we made the run again and got it back up 10, 12 points and finished off the game. So, but there was good response. We put on a few little new offensive things that really helped us and freed up some guys, and so I was really pleased with that. Good team effort. Every guy. We had a couple of guys kind of get banged up a little bit last night. A couple of guys are sick. I'm kind of on the edge of being sick, but we're hanging together well, and we're doing a good job, and we have 2 more to go.
Robert DeLima's always played well for you, but he really showed up for you last night.
Yeah, he had a real good scoring night last night, shot the ball real well, and he's been leading us the last 2 or 3 ball games in steals. And I think he led us last night with 4 steals, and we put him up on top of our little trap, and he did a really good job of pestering the guard as he brought it up, and it was a freshman guard bringing it up, so we wanted to get in his head a little bit, but he did a good job, and had some other guys do a good job, and everybody did something to help us along the way in the first half or second half, and that's what it takes. When we played well early in the year and early in district, that's what we were doing, and then we stopped for 4 games. We went back to it last night, and I hope they'll continue that and learn from it and go into tonight's game. If we play like we did last night tonight, I think we've got a really good chance to beat Paris at Paris as well.
Well, Paris is going to be a pretty good test.
Paris is a good test. They have a couple of good post kids. One's more physical, the other's more finesse. They've got a really good shooting guard that killed us. And I just finished watching the video this morning, and he was shooting 4 or 5 feet behind the three-point line. And we had guys out at the three-point line, but we still weren't far enough. So we're going to address that. But I saw some things in the video that we can do better, and hopefully offensively make some corrections on what we did the last time. But they're 7-1, and they're fighting it out with Texas High. And if we can take care of Paris tonight, that really helps us, because most of these teams have lost to them, and that's just going to give us one more boost. And I think it's probably going to come down to, no matter what happens tonight for us, I think playing Greenville at home Tuesday night, it's going to be kind of like football. I think if we beat Greenville, we're into the playoffs. If we don't, they're in. And I think it's going to boil down to that. So hopefully we'll take one tonight. We'll try to get the one tonight to help us out.
Thanks for watching News Notebook.